thank our sponsor, Parati's Quality Meats, located in Cranford, New Jersey, serving customers all over New Jersey for the past 50 years. Hello, everybody. This is Coach's View from the sideline. This is the Shore Football Report. You know that guy over there, Coach Hoadley. I'm Coach Rob Davis. It's Week 8 special. We got talking high school football in the Shore Conference, Coach. I'm excited. You excited?
No, I can't believe we're already at week 8, Coach. You know, the weather's starting to turn. It's starting to get a little chilly outside right now. It's starting to be football weather. We're both wearing hoodies. It's starting to really feel like, that type of coaching weather where this is where the football season really picks up for coaches, which is both of our views from the sideline here. This is a special time of year.
Oh, man, I really, are you loving what you're doing?
I am loving what I'm doing. I will say that. I mean, I love being at the atmosphere I was at Friday night, with the number 1 and number 2 team in our top 20 coaches poll that you put together.
Yeah.
To be out there. But on the same token, there was a part of me that I've been in big time games like that where it's nice being underneath the lights, being on the sideline, making a big call here or a knock call here. There's part of me that said, wow, I wish I was over there. But then there was part of me saying, you know what? It's pretty good being over on this side of the fence, too. There's nobody second guessing my calls and nobody's
second guessing your calls. I don't know about you, but my phone was blowing up with some of the picks. Let me tell you what, people watch our stuff because I never knew that picking against RBC was going to be so detrimental to my phone.
I agree with you.
And it was done in fun.
I was amongst.
I'm sure somebody was laughing.
The thousands of people that were at that game at Friday night, and I'm standing all the way down towards the end zone, and I got people walking up to me where they would either pat me on the back and say, "Hey, thanks, Coach. Appreciate your support. Great job." And then people that obviously I didn't pick for said, "Are you crazy? What's wrong with you? That's why you don't know what you're talking about." I was like, wow, you used to be a guy that I loved. You were in my wedding.
Yeah.
Or you were at my christening of one of my kids. And
there's a lot of divorces happening because of our picks. I started feeling.
I'll tell you, there's a lot of passion among Short Conference football people, boy.
Coach, it gets to the point where, like, the phone's ringing or I'm getting messages Instagram, and it's like it's done in jest and fun, but it got to the point where I needed a police escort, I think, to get to my car. I had my wife had to look out the window. You're good. Get out there. Sprint out there. The Shore Football Report. All because of one pick?
Exactly.
Oh, my God. Man. And I'm half joking.
I was looking around where I was standing to make sure I wasn't standing on top of plastic, where it was going to be a hit or something on top of me or something,
I mean, wow. Everything's great about the Shore Football Report. When we do stats, we do videos, we interview people. We're nice. We start picking games, and the claws come out. Jesus. Oh, my. You thought Freddy Krueger was scary. Look out. Because
it's the scariest Halloween film you ever wanted to see right here.
I mean, I think it is so harmless on a Friday morning. We do our videos here. Friday morning, I post it. I relax, and the phone is ringing and this and that. After the game, the messages. I told you so. It's like, I get it. You're good. I know when
I got text messages up to like 1:00 in the morning after the Friday night games saying, I told you so. I knew we were going to do great. Or, hey, thanks for believing in us.
I know.
Wow.
I get thanks for the bulletin board message. Like, are you? So I'm justified. Hey, I picked you. The other 3 dudes did it, and the fan vote went the other way. Like, it's funny. So, holy smokes, man.
There's fun being on. Listen, it truly is. I know how you feel. It's actually great to be able to distance yourself and being on this side
of
the fence, so to speak, and see what this world lives like compared to what we've always lived in for the last 20 years as coaches, where you tone all that white noise and static out, so to speak. It's amazing to see how the other side operates.
I just can't get over it, man. It's like we're picking a game, and it's like. It's like anybody. You could be like the worst team in the whole Shore playing against the Dallas Cowboys. We picked the Cowboys. Are you kidding me? What are you like? Home cooking. Like, are you kidding me? Holy smokes, Coach! You can't win. You can't win. At some point, it'll be fun, I'm sure.
I agree.
But I will say this: I've been right
Well, I was
104.
just gonna say, not for nothing though, and I'm not. Listen, you and I are coaches first and foremost
Yeah.
to our heart. We're competitive people. That's why we succeed. When you look at our records of what we had, again, I know you're winning. You don't have to talk about it. But
I
I'm saying,
appreciate
when
it.
you look at our records, we're all like 104 to like 98 to 96 wins compared to like 20 something.
Germano's 10 games out.
Well, we won't talk about him. We won't talk about him. But with like 104 to 98 to 9, with the amount and like 20 something losses. So we kind of understand what we're talking about, but don't get mad at us for the one or two games where we're picking. I mean, wow, it's amazing.
Well, it was good, and I know you got heckled a lot when you were live at the Red Bank Catholic Rumson game. Next time, bring a bulletproof vest in the game.
I'm thinking I got to go back to my old days of my job that I used to have back in the day in law enforcement. I'm going to wear my weapon and my bulletproof vest on me because I'll tell you, man, I didn't know if it was going to come from this side or this side. Ooh, my God.
Seriously, I go to the games and I wear this. I don't want people to see me. Right? It's unbelievable how people are, though. But my mind goes crazy during the week, Coach. It really does. And when I go in and I start doing things, and then I start thinking about other things. The other day, I was writing a wedding card, and I don't know how to finish off writing a letter. I don't know how to say goodbye to people. I don't know how to end these shows. I mean, it's great. Our videos here are awesome to the end. I'm like, bye, click. I don't know how to end it. But with the cards, I don't know how to write, love Rob, from Rob, see you later, Rob. I don't know how to, I mean, I mess up a free meal. I really do. And, the word love scares me because it scarred me because it got me in trouble one time at a banquet with my wife. She's been to 2 of my banquets, and 2 times we've had issues because she wasn't happy. She hates football, so she looks for the littlest things and she harps on it. It's like she's a Mike linebacker. You open the gap up, she goes right through it and blitzes. So she goes to the banquet, and you're emotional like myself. And when you talk about your players, you kind of get emotional and you cry.
We're locker room guys.
I cried, man. I do. I cry.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
I did. I got emotional. Whatever. I go home. I think everything's good.
My apologies.
So she's standing there and she goes, "Hey, crybaby, come here." What? Like I didn't even know I was really doing it too. So she starts yelling at me. She goes, "You know what? I've never seen you cry before. We got married. You didn't cry. We've had 2 beautiful babies where you were there. You didn't cry. Explain to me why you were crying today at your football banquet." I said, "Because I love football." Kicks me out of the house. McDonald's, here I come for 3 straight weeks. So the word love is something that scares me. Now, with that being done and said, we're getting pretty big. Are we doing Christmas cards with everybody? From the Shore Football Report, or would it be love the Shore Football Report?
That's a great point.
It's great.
Because we talk about passion, we talk about our emotions and what we love to do. I mean, football is always going to be a strong part of our heart here.
What's the etiquette right now? I'm being honest. I mean, we're getting pretty big. We got 500 viewers.
This is all new territory for you and I. I mean, and I think that's why we succeed. I mean, you and I both talked ad nauseum with the amount of texts and go, listen, I love your show. It's almost like watching Mike and the Mad Dog type of, so to speak, the banter between you two. You're given an unadulterated view of like coaching, what goes on between the high schools. But then how do you respond? It's a weird feeling, especially when it comes towards the end. I mean, I felt it personally at the games, be it, we're both 20-year veterans of coaching, and you're sitting there and you're watching a game and you're trying to interpret the game of what's going on. I would do this in your mind. What you would do that in your mind. And you got somebody next to you, and he's like, "Hey, coach, what do you think they should do right here? Do you think that it's 3rd and 9? Do you think they're set up for a draw or a screen right here?" And if you say something the wrong way to that person, like, "Oh, I would run some type of hot blitz here, fire the mic back, or whatever the case may be," You really would do that right now? It's such a weird feeling right now. I agree with you.
That's funny how you do that. I sit next to my dad, and I said it earlier, he's like Joe Buck. So it's like if I say one thing about the football game, it extended to a 3-hour dialogue to him. So I kind of just agree with him. Yep, you're right. But Christmas cards are something that we may need to do. That's the thing to do? And if that's the case, I'm nervous. I don't know if I should put love the Shore Football Report staff or from. That's
Yeah.
something we got to do. But and where would we take the picture? Would we go to a local place and all of us like? I'm nervous. Why are we doing this? Why are we doing this stuff?
This is
We
great.
need to get back on the field. All this pressure we got to do, picking teams.
Put us by a goalpost and we'll be okay.
Yeah, the Shore Football Report, guys. So yeah, these things I didn't plan on these things, but now that Christmas is coming, people have said to me, "Are you going to do a Christmas card?" And I said, "Wait, is that what you're supposed to do? Is that the etiquette?" I'm like, "Oh, you're kidding me!" It's like, "Oh, we got to do that." No, we could do what we want. I might snub everybody. I kind of snub people. Oh, I didn't realize it was Christmas. It's that type of thing. I'm very good at looking the other way. Well, looking the other way, for some teams is not a good thing because they got two big games, which are not the pod games. It's extension of the season games.
Mhm.
Let's not call it pod.
I agree.
No more. Those committee guys piece together games, which some games were equal, and then other games you're kind of scratching your head.
Well, let's call it out right now. In the beginning of the year, they originally called that they were going to have Shore Conference Championship pods.
Yeah.
To attribute to you, us at ShoreFootballReport.com. Listen, we said it last week. Did you want to be in that room to be a committee member, to be able to sign off on a certain team or
No.
sign against a certain team? And then all of a sudden the word breaks this week. We're not going to call them pods. We're just going to add, a couple
There
extensions.
were no warnings. There were no warnings.
No warnings. And we all know what the reason why. We don't have to talk about it, but we all know what goes on. And
there were no warnings.
So we talked about it last week. Who's going to be the person that's going to vote against that team or vote against or vote for that team? And who do you keep out that's an undefeated team that's not going to play for something against a team that might have 3 wins or 4 wins? I mean, it's not right. Keep it the way it was. And again, I say this every single week. If you really want a true Shore Conference champion, it's already been proven amongst its peers, amongst the coaches. It's shown parity throughout the year. Take the top 20. That's always been done. Make it a 4 to 5 game season for division, and then play off the top 20 teams voted by the coaches. These are the top 20 teams, and have them play it off.
I got one better for you. You guys want to see a Shore Conference tournament, and you want competitive games? You've been to 7-on-7s, right?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Rank everybody 1 to 42, and have them play all in the winners bracket, and you all play him, you all play him. The loser plays his team, the loser plays that team. You go to team game C, game D, the all winners bracket, loser bracket, right on through to there's a winner. And then you're playing competitive games, and you're playing to an eventual champion, and then everybody's happy. We do it in 7-on-7.
We all know already the Shore Conference taking, the teams that strength the schedule, the wins over the last couple of years. We know as coaches, nobody knows more than us already. Watching that team that we played against, scouted for numerous amount of hours for 5 days before we play them. Who's a sophomore? Who's a junior? Who do they have coming back? Then watch them on the game field. Watch their games to see what they're going to be like next year. So we would be able to tell you in an unadulterated look, listen, that team is going to be loaded next year. Well, that team might be senior laden this year. Yeah. They might have a fallback.
Yeah. We're usually wrong on maybe a team surprising us being good. We're never wrong with a team that we thought was going to be good that is all of a sudden bad. We don't. Correct. It's not. So because kids get better from one year to the next.
Or kids transfer in, or you get a couple sophomores rise up. Yep.
Yeah, with that. So whatever. I mean, there's exciting games. I was only kidding about playing games like that. But if you want to be creative that way to create competitive games, then that. I just don't like the fact that there are games under a schedule. You don't know who you're playing. You need to be able to kind of, prepare. like in a classroom. Could you imagine being in a classroom and say, you're going to do this, but I can't tell you what students you're going to have and what lesson you're going to do, but you're going to do that. Well, in football, you don't know who it's all, you just don't do that.
That's why we're so much different than any other sport. I mean, there's so much time in the classroom, on the whiteboard, watching film, going over schematics of what we go through as coaches and the staff and the players, most importantly, who's trying to balance their student studies as well and learn what we're going to do. Right, exactly. It's such a different sport compared to everyone else that if you're really not part of it, you really don't understand it.
You know what I was doing during the week? Again, I'm preparing for down the road. I'm having a list. I was going over potential players of the year for offense, defense, special teams, and sophomore, freshman for every division because I just didn't want to do it a couple weeks from now. I wanted to have a kind of a list to brainstorm and kind of pick it off and throw your way and that.
But that's because you're a coach.
There's some interesting races for every one of those.
Oh,
wow.
Yep.
There's some good football players. There really is. There really is. And I mean, we're gonna make some interesting all-star teams. We're gonna do all division. We're gonna have an all shore. We're gonna do an all county. We're going to pick an all underclassmen. We're gonna have so many different waves of things on our video show. We'll even have those players on our talk show. The players of the year. We'll have so much fun. So they've got a lot to look forward to with that. With that. All right. Later on in this show, we're going to recap last week's games. We'll have our coaches top 20. We have a new number one team. Yes, we do.
Yes, there is.
And I'm going to give you a little hint who it is. He's going to be talking to us, the Red Bank Catholic head football coach, Coach Mike Lange. He's on top of the hill right now. He's the king of the hill because they're number one. They're number one right now. The Red Bank Catholic Casey's are number one. He'll be on, and we're going to talk for around 15, 20 minutes about Red Bank Catholic football. Well-deserved. And then after that, we're going to break down this week's football games, which are very, very important because the last week's games made these games just as important.
Yep.
Are we good? Is there anything else we need to kind of brush up on? Anything?
No. Let's get into the show.
We talk Christmas cards. We talk. We did it all.
Weather. We talked pod play. We talked state playoffs. What's coming up? I mean, we're encompassing it all.
Right? We got it all, man. I mean, I got security. Do I have to beef up security because some of these picks are going to be? I mean, it's going to be pretty rough. Some of these picks.
Wow.
I'm going to put a shirt on that says Germano, so people are going to think I'm Logan. So when I go to games, right, with some of those picks, I'm going to be safe. And then I'm going to put a hat on some kid. I'll say, that's Davis over there. And then when they go, I would run to the hot dog stand and get the food when they run after him. But I got to find ways to do it because.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to that part of the show where we got to start talking about teams that with the games next week that what's going to go on because there's a lot of games that really you have no idea what you're going to do.
Us media guys have rights too, don't we?
I hope so. I'm waiting for you to give me that media pass so when I go into games, I end up A, paying free admission, and B, leave that guy alone. He's a media guy.
I get my dad. Now, I love him. Joe Buck, right? He's got a pass from the short conference that I gave him. Free. He's an avid football guy, loves football, goes all over the place. He still pays for away games. I said, why? He said, this was for home games.
No.
Now, my dad is a retired cop. He's always right. I go, read it. He was wrong. He thought it was a Barnegat pass. It was the short conference pass wherever he goes.
Right,
he's been paying away games. So knowing him, he's probably trying to backlog and see if he can get his reimbursed for all the games.
Give me a reimbursement.
For all the years. He's been doing it. So he's doing the math. It's been 18 years. How many home games? He probably could retire off of that. He probably could retire with that. Him and my mom are going to the games paying for it when they had a pass that says season pass. Every year.
Well, that's good. He could be one of our sponsors.
Yeah, with that money that he's going to get back. You know what? He probably will ask for his refund for those things. So look out, all you ADs out there from the past 18 years. So, all right, you ready? I'm good. I'm ready to get going.
Let's get to week 8, brother.
Let's get week 8 going. And that's that. Coach, now let's talk about last week's football games, exciting football games, which made this week's games even more important. Go ahead.
So we had number 2, Red Bank Catholic versus number 1, Rumson Fairhaven Friday night.
21-14, huh? That was a tough one to pick, and boy, oh boy, did we get a lot of ribbon for that. We actually picked the wrong team, and Red Bank Catholic is king of the hill right now.
Yes,
and
they are.
Coach, and when Coach Lange comes on later on today, I want to see what he thinks about splitting that football into all these different pieces because he's got a lot of weapons.
It's a great question. I saw that firsthand. I was at the game as I was staying in contact with you constantly through, text, giving me your, views of the game. There's a lot of talent and there's a lot of athletes he's trying to, but it showed with them with, the running back Harmon, the running back Portella, the running back Cooper, then Brown to Rahman.
Yeah.
And then forget, the other side of the ball in defense. But the number one thing I saw firsthand in live and in person, Red Bank Catholic dominated the line of scrimmage, both offensively and defensively. And I texted that to you a couple times during the game.
Yeah, I mean, they're a huge front.
Oh, my God.
And athletic with Alex Bauman. I mean, Alex had a tremendous game, 3 catches, and he had, a sack and a couple tackles for losses.
Phenomenal defensive game.
Sabino Portella, just offensively, defense, 144 yards, 10 tackles. But that kid Harmon, I'm telling you right now, he was an all-Shore kid at Shore Regional as a sophomore, and now he's coming back where he just became. He had to sit out a couple games and he's just added to the depth of the football team. The rich get richer. Can we say that?
Yeah, you said it best with them. I mean, I saw it first. I mean, I know Portella coaching against him last year, how special he was as a sophomore last year. But now you add Harmon to the mix along with what they else have at Cooper. I mean, you have Portella that ran for 144 yards and a touchdown, then Harmon. Then you got Cooper coming out of the backfield on a hot route that he ends up getting into the end zone. Forget about that. You don't even have – I'm not talking about Alex Brown to Bauman or Alex Brown to Najee Rahman.
He hasn't had that huge game yet. I know the first game he had like 9 catches, but
scary.
I mean that he's gonna come out real soon.
I'm telling you, that's a great point that you're gonna ask Coach Lange about. There is so much talent that I see with that team. I mean, from special teams as well.
Yeah.
I mean,
Jacobson's a pretty good kicker.
Yes, he is. He's pretty good.
Pretty good kicker. Yeah.
Yep. But, I mean, credit to Rumson. Rumson was in the game, made it a 7-point game. They played hard. They ended up doing things offensively that you really don't see a Rumson Fairhaven team do weekly. They turned second half. They saw some things that they could expose with the pass game, moved the ball. They had some really timely turnovers on the defensive side.
List is pretty good.
Offense didn't cash in on it, But Red Bank Catholic, by all means, I saw that game. They truly deserve to be number 1 right now.
Coach, I mean, the key to beating Rumson is to score some points because their defense is that good. You're putting 21 points on. Now the offense got to work a little different because the offense has been playing to the defense at Rumson, and rightfully so. Very good ball control, good football team. But Red Bank Catholic getting some points up right away kind of puts them into a secondary mode game planning. But that's 2 good football teams. 2 good teams that have a chance to win a state title, and nothing to be ashamed about. I guess if you play that game 10 times, maybe 5-5. Who knows? Right?
And the last thing we'll talk about here, and I felt it myself. I had goosebumps. That was like Shore Conference football to a T. You had a public against non-public. I mean, there was thousands of people at that game. That there was people still walking in at halftime trying to get into the game. It was an amazing atmosphere, and that really shows why Shore Conference football is so special in the state of New Jersey.
Yeah, that's
really
great.
Is.
That's great that the fans took a liking to that game. Smart
awesome.
People out there, real smart people. Go ahead.
We had number 7 Long Branch versus Ocean this week.
Yeah, I mean the Danny George. What are we saying? The farewell tour.
The farewell train, you called it.
Farewell train. I still want to see this. Make my day. I want him at the end of the day when he wins a state title, go, you know what, guys? That was fun. Let's do it again. I said, what? Yeah, I would love it. I would be like, I called it. But they're just playing their hearts out for that guy. And, Ocean's down with some
Yeah.
injuries and,
Yep.
and
I'll tell you the other thing you called is Christian Rodriguez. I mean, Long Branch goes as Christian Rodriguez goes.
yeah.
220 yards with 2 touchdowns.
Saku Camus is a good two-way player at linebacker / DB, running back. I know Coach George said he's one of the best ones he's ever coached, and he had some pretty good players.
Think about that for the years. Think about that.
Yeah, that's
Tidy Corbett,
pretty strong.
All those guys that came through. Yep.
He had 220 yards passing Rodriguez, and they're going as far as he's going, and he's definitely not letting anybody down, Coach. That kid.
No, not at all.
They're an exciting team, and you know what? You can only want to root for those guys, knowing what's happening at the end of the year. Hopefully, it doesn't happen, but I hope that good things happen to good people, and Danny George is a good person.
I agree with that.
Yep.
Number 9 Southern versus number 8 Central. Huge game.
Yeah. I was there. It could have gone either way. I was very impressed. There was a freshman quarterback. What's his name? I think it was Devin Sizzler. 6'2", 6'3", 185 kid throwing darts. I mean, really, for Central, really impressive kid. A guy that you're going to be looking for in the next couple of years. Dynamic. He's a backup. And he came in and was just doing dynamic stuff for their team. And, Central's a good football team. I'm telling you right now.
I was eager to hear your take on this game, yeah.
Central's a good football team. We know Southern is. Southern's a proven team year in, year out.
Absolutely. Yep.
Great atmosphere. The crowd was excited. The community was all in. It was an exciting game to watch. It really, really was with that. But, Southern came back on a big drive at the end of the half that put them in front, and they never looked back, and they won 17-14. Central scored at the end of the game, and then an onside kick. It was over. Southern got it, and that was that. But it was a great game played by two good teams that are probably going to be a 4 to 5 or 3 seed in their respective playoffs.
Well, I mean, you're talking a 3-point differential here. Again, we talk about number 9 versus number 8. That's good. That's the way it's going to play out.
Yeah.
We're obviously, as coaches, that your peers are picking these top 20 that we have that you created. I mean, look at that. I mean, that's good football.
Yeah.
That you're talking right there.
Yeah, Coach. That next game though, with Middletown North and St. John Vianney, barn burner. Tommy Janone, another 300-yard pass game. And did it at the end. Heroics, Coach. When we're talking about all-star teams at the end of the year, I mean, he's potentially on the verge of being on a lot of them. I'll tell you that. That quarterback, 6'5", 6'6", looks really, really good. And I love the schemes that Coach Bush does. St. John Vianney's a tough defensive team. It was a tough game at the end, and they've lost a couple close games where their record could be a little different. I love the kid Zach Seawright, though. I do. The DN tight end. A really good athlete, caught a 2-yard touchdown pass with 51 seconds left to change the game. Think of that. You're playing a football game in 51 seconds. You either win it or you lose. It's just incredible. That's football for you, And Middletown North is a hot team. They're 6-1, Coach. Oh, 5-1.
I said this way back when we were talking in the beginning of the year. Obviously, coach against North with the senior leadership they had with Giannone, Serbo, Branda,
right.
I mean, they have a ton of kids that were going to really be game tested that they went through the season with last year.
Right.
But, this game was back and forth. I mean, the Lancers were down 17-14. Then they came out and took the lead 21-17. Again, Pizzulo kid that you've been so high on all year, he goes in to score to be able to put them up. Rosado had the game that we thought he would have. This was a great football game here. But this is a big win for Middletown North for state playoffs.
Yeah, I love that junior receiver though, Kyle Varese, 48-yard touchdown catch from Rosado. I've seen Rosado up close last year, and the kid's dynamic. I mean, he can run past like a Doug Flutie type kid. Fleet-footed, great, good composure. It's got a little swagger to him. I like. That's a good football team, and that's a big win for Middletown North, and a lot of power points, Coach, because you get that multiplier.
That's what I was talking about. Yeah, it's a huge one. Yeah.
Good job by those guys. Go ahead.
Homedale versus Raritan Friday night.
I'll tell you what, Jaden Gallo. Say that name without smiling. I dare you. It's impossible. You can't. You can't do it. That kid is an all-star football player, outstanding running back. Had you two big runs and also a 12-yard touchdown run, 65, 57, and a 12-yarder. He seems to make a lot of plays. He's their number one guy. Also a very outstanding defensive back. Big win against a Raritan team that is getting their kids healthy and just lost. I mean, again, it's a playoff game. When I see this, it's a playoff game. And when you're in a playoff game, you're going to win it or lose it. Doesn't mean you're a bad team. It's just that's a big game. Homedale surprised me in that game because when you think they're down and out, again, their division got them ready to play.
I was just going to, Rob, I was just going to say.
I saw your notes. I cheated. Yeah.
This absolutely echoed what you talked about before with a team that might not have a lot of wins in the division play that they're playing, but the competition level they're playing, when they take that team out of the division to play other teams, the last couple of weeks, Homedale is not playing the Middletown Souths, the Walls, the Rumsons, the huge teams, Southern, Colts Neck. Now all of a sudden they come back, and what happens? Now they're starting to win games. They're battle tested. I mean, they've played those games, and Coach Rannis has said that. Listen, we'll play what we have to play. Give me what we have to do, but we're going to gear towards state playoffs. Now they're gearing up. They're 3-3 now. They're right on that cusp of starting to make the next.
They've come a long way, Homedale. Just years ago, they were playing in the lowest conference, the lowest division.
Every bit.
And now they're here. So that program's made humongous strides with that. Coach Jackson Memorial, 27 to Jackson Liberty 0. A rivalry game. I know Liberty only won one time. You throw out the records. Everybody knows everybody. Mm-hmm. I think this is another game where Jackson gets ready for a nice big little stretch run. They're 1-6. They've had some injuries, but they have some youth to their team. And I expect them to be pretty tough team to play in the next couple of weeks.
And probably played one of the toughest schedules in the short conference.
Yeah, they did. They did with that. It was good that Ty Mann was back from an injury from the other week. 2 touchdowns, threw for another. They have weapons on the perimeter, young guys as weapons.
I was going to say sophomores and juniors.
Yeah. But that was a good win for them, 27-0. They'll take it to get their first win of the season. Jackson's not used to being 1-6. Just not used to. Coach, Freehold Township and Howell, I scratched my head. Howell looked like they were on a roll. They won 2 in a row. Then they play a rival school, Freehold Township.
Yep.
Corey Davies' offense with Mark Aguelo, the sophomore quarterback, threw for 5 touchdowns and upset Howell. Upset Howell 35-33 because Howell was looking for a nice little run in the state playoffs. They're not out yet, but that was a little bump in the road because Freehold Township, was kind of showing glimpses like, they might be down in right now. And all of a sudden, one game like that. And, Coach, if you look at the history of Corey Davies, good friend of mine, when you count him out, he surprises you. He does. Yep. He really does. And he's really good at game planning in games where you might not think he has a chance to win. In his past, he's done it. And this was one big game, too. And I'm talking about when he upsets teams that are on, a high favorite against them. And this was one of them.
Yeah,
big game.
I'll echo that 100%. I thought Howell was going to be, they were starting to turn that corner, that they were going to make the run, to get to 500. But then, again, this kid, Aguayo, as a sophomore, and I saw it against Neptune, he ends up throwing for 335 yards and 4 touchdowns against them. And now he comes back and throws 5 touchdowns again. Listen, that's special. I mean, again, I have utmost respect for Coach Davies and the air raid offense that he runs. But listen, the X's and the O's only goes as good as the Johnnies and the Joes.
There are 2 receivers Freehold Township has. They got that senior Calamita, who's outstanding, and they got another sophomore, Corchado, outstanding. He had 7 catches, 104 yards, I believe, 2 touchdowns. So he has Coach Davies got 2 sophomores that are improving as the season going on and making some big plays on varsity field and winning the game. There's a difference between getting experience and winning
And then
getting
actually,
not winning.
yeah,
And he's winning. He's winning,
yeah,
beating a rival school that's the same district. Credit to Freehold Township and Coach Davies for that win. Howell's a good football team. They're going to get back on the saddle, and they're going to get that third win real soon.
yeah.
But that was a big win. Coach, here's a team that's up and coming, and we've said this.
Wow.
Yeah. Red Bank, 42. Matawan, 34.
Yep.
Red Bank lost their starting quarterback,
Yep.
Grassi,
Yep.
and now the kid Olson comes in, a junior, and he's thrown the football like you wouldn't believe. Air Fallon.
Yep.
Air Fallon. That's what I call him right now. Yeah. He's throwing the football and he's doing it with success. And there's a difference between throwing a football in losses where you have to throw, or throwing a football and throwing the football and being a threat and win games. And that's what he's doing right now, Coach Fallon. They really are. They got Dangler, the wide receiver, with just a couple of kids' names I just want to do for Red Bank. Hicks. It's in here. My bad. I wrote it down. Lamar Hicks returned a kickoff for a touchdown. Sean Masonis returned a punt for a touchdown. And Gus Del Pra blocked a punt for a touchdown. They had three special teams touchdowns. We should have got the special teams coach on here. You kidding me?
1,000%. When you could be able to win a game by 8 points and you have 3 touchdowns on special teams, that's a great team effort right now. Again, everybody, I'm talking about the Mary and the Johns outside that watch, the offense and defensive side, but true coaches understand special teams takes up such an important part of your team. It's 1/3 of the game that we all practice.
You say that. Everybody says 1/3. They say it, the lights go on, and they say 1/3 of the game. But do you really practice it 1/3 of the time?
I'll be the first one. I can be honest with you. We practice specials every single day.
1/3?
Oh, we were practicing at least every day. You do offense a day? Yes. You do defense? Yes. There was one part of specials we did every day, be it punt, kickoff return, kickoff, extra point block, extra point, every day. There was at least 20 to 30-minute period dedicated to special teams.
Good. Because 1/3 means it's equal. Third.
No, 100%. But I agree with you.
Well, there's a lot of coaches that will say third game, and kind of push it to the side, where other teams go, and you can see some of the teams that put little gadgety things on special teams, and they're the ones that you have to prepare for a lot. And
100%.
Look what happened to Red Bank. Yep. Coach Air Fallon throws the ball like crazy, and the special team coach gets carried off the field. All right, just like their outstanding special team, they just made a lot of exciting times at Red Bank with special teams. Tell you what.
And Coach Fallon's a dear friend of both of ours. But he knew he was young this year. He's trying to change the culture over at Red Bank Regional.
Wait, he's not young. The team's young.
No, he's my age, but we're both young.
Yeah.
But either way, you could see that he knew that he was going to try to bring a lot of the youth movement back into the Red Bank Regional. They're buying in now. I'm being perfectly honest. I would have never thought at this point of the year Red Bank is sitting at 3-4, and then to have a second string quarterback who's a junior that's putting up the numbers that Olsen knew. Let me tell you something. Red Bank is going to be a nice team moving forward in the future with obviously Shane's experience of what he's been done with programs and how he's been able to project. Kudos to them, man. Kudos to them.
Coach Graber, I think, has one of the youngest teams too. Plays a lot of freshmen, a lot of sophomores. The senior Dave Anua, 183 yards rushing, 4 touchdowns. They're just young.
Yeah.
And when you're young, you might be really good in one phase and maybe you're not squeezing the double team or doing something. Like, it's just one thing. And, you got to have all your pieces in check to be consistently
And he's had
winning.
A couple signature wins this year already.
Yep. Listen, Graber's an outstanding coach with with a great resume. So was Coach Fallon. Coach Fallon wins, one on special teams. And that's a credit to Coach Fallon. Coach Marlboro, 35-21 versus Brick Memorial. Marlboro gets back on the winning ways.
Big win for them to get back on track.
4-2 stretch run, has a slight chance to make the state playoffs, depending on the next 2 games. And Zach Mendez, he's very consistent. That kid, very consistent, over 200 yards rushing, 4 touchdowns. I really think he's just playing his heart out, offensively and defensively. Is
Yep.
4 touchdowns, 200 and something yards. Plays offense and defense. Plays offense and defense with the same intensity. Good, won me over when I seen him play in the beginning of the year.
And it showed me, you just said a mouthful right there. I can't tell you the last time that Marlboro qualified for the state play. I really don't remember. In Group 5, no less. So they're right there, when it comes for entering the game this Friday night where the top 16 teams come through.
Yeah.
How Marlboro does it. I mean, kudos to listen, they ran into a buzzsaw with Central. We talked about that.
Right.
A little bit of fallback, but then to get right back on track. Kudos to Coach D'Agato, getting them right back on the road.
Yeah.
How they were going to be able to do things against a good Brick Memorial team with Connor Dietz.
Yeah, Connor's
quarterback,
good.
the sophomore.
Yeah.
But that's a good win for Marlboro.
Yeah, Connor Dietz is an outstanding football player, not just now, but in the future. He really is.
Yeah.
But today was a day for Marlboro. I mean, Marlboro proved that this isn't, they're not a surprise team anymore. You got to take them serious. 100%. And beating a Brick Memorial team 35-21 was a big statement for their program. It really was. Coach Barnegat played Point Beach 27-7. Barnegat won. It was close. It was actually 6-0 going into the half. But in the second quarter, Point Beach ran a halfback option pass to a wide open receiver, dropped it in the end zone. Point Beach could have had the lead against Barnegat. And Coach Saccone really has his kids. They play so hard, but they're a Group 1 school, one of the smallest schools in South Jersey. Barnegat is starting to get some guys back, I think, this week. JoJo Bivens had 4 touchdowns, 271 yards, broke the school record by 1 yard.
Wow.
So, yeah, I can say that. I know the former head coach. He kind of knows all the stats. So, JoJo, he comes into my room. I said, JoJo, how many yards did you get? He goes, 271. So I take out the record book. I go, what's it say? He goes, I got the record? I go, yeah, well, you think I just made this up before you came in? Like, right? So 271 yards for JoJo, a junior. A lot of big days ahead of him. He's going to be the all-time leading rusher there the time he graduates. That's a nice toy to have when you're a new coach, to have a guy like that. Very talented. We groomed him, last year. And as a freshman, I brought him up and did certain things because I knew he was something special.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's like, here you go, Coach Covey. He's yours. So
I'm going to hand you the keys to the car real quick.
I did. And I wish I could borrow the keys and start driving it. But JoJo's a great player, and he just was the best player. It's really nice when you have the best player in the field.
Yeah.
It really is.
I know it all too well. I know it too well.
Yeah, you too. Talking about best players, are you ready for this one?
Jamie Mazzacco.
How did you know I was going to say that?
I agree with you here.
Coach, he's not only one of the best players, he's probably one of the best athletes.
Yeah.
Multi-sport wrestler. I don't know if he does lacrosse, but if he did, I'm gonna say something. I bet you he's one of the best ones out there. Jamie Mazzacco. Did you see that touchdown he got against Pinelands? 85 yards.
Yep.
And Kaz has got him rolling. There are young pups around him. He's the dude. He's the dude on any team that he would be playing for. And he ran quarterback power with the read, except he doesn't read it. We all know that. He fakes it and ran over 3 guys and outran everybody else. I'm going to admit, I watched the video a couple times. I did.
This kind of surprised me because I really thought that this was going to be like
I did too.
a 10-point game, 7-point game, swing a little bit. Highlands has been really playing good football.
I did too.
The last couple of weeks, especially making you play football inside a phone booth, with the mentality of their offense. Listen, that's a really dominant win for Shore Regional. And that, again, we talked about it last week. It's starting to get to that time of year now where, the past Shore Regional teams, they start to stride their legs a little bit, getting ready for states. Shore's going to be a team that you're going to end up seeing the state do some well.
Coach, I'm going to compare something. I watched Halloween all weekend, and I'm going to tell you right now. Michael Myers, after watching those movies, I will never trust a guy with a white mask and a knife ever again. But I'll tell you right now, the other teams are fearing Jamie Mazzacco like Michael Myers I am with me. That kid's scary. He's scary.
That's hilarious.
Because he's not only an offense dominant, on defense, he's the Mike linebacker. I mean, just making
Well, we're gonna put it out to cause from now on in. Instead of playing Hell's Bells when they walk down through the graveyard,
Michael Myers. Coach,
Ding.
please, you're scaring me. Stop. I just hope he doesn't have 20 different films like Halloween does. But Jamin Bizzaco's having a great year. And, Coach, he's going to be on all the all-star teams out there. And I know you and I are going to push for him with the other medias, too.
Every bit.
With that. He's not only a good football player, you know what he is? He's a good kid. Good kid. Won me over. Very well respectful kid. I mean, it's isn't it great that you could say that about a kid? It's not just a football player. That's that. So credit to him and that. So Shore Regional's on a roll, and a credit to Coach Kaz. He's having one of his best, and I told him this last week, one of his best coaching jobs he's ever did. And we'll talk more about that in the next couple of weeks, why. But outstanding with that. Coach, non-conference game, number 3, Donovan Catholic played Rawway. It was 42-0. Dante Veneri is an offensive weapon, except guess what? He doesn't play offense. He's the middle linebacker.
Defense. Yeah.
He's got 5 interceptions, 4 for touchdowns.
Think of that stat.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to tell you right now, I don't know how many people have in the short coverage had 4 touchdowns for interceptions. He's having a tremendous year. You know,
Mike Backer. At backer.
Mike linebacker.
Right. That's what I said. He's not back at safety, picking off a post run or something.
No.
He's at Mike, and he's got 4 touchdowns off interceptions.
And he's very quick. He's very quick.
Sorry, I'm having trouble.
Credit to him, but he's a ball hawk, that kid. He really is.
Yep.
But Jalen Butler on offense, 6 for 6, 135 yards. Can you say perfect?
Yeah.
You can't get any better than 6 for 6. Could you go 7 for 6? Could you do that?
Yeah.
No, you can't do that. But 135 yards, 2 touchdowns. Again, they're playing these games, and you're not getting these huge statistics because they're winning so easily right now, and they got to spread the ball around.
I'm going to tell you, this Rawway team is a good team.
They are.
They play again. Similar, they play in a really tough conference up in the GMAC in that top gold conference. What goes on? That's a dominant. Again, we've talked about it. It's a great short conference team against a great. We'll take a great short conference team every day of the week and twice on Sunday. You know what I mean? So kudos to them.
I would say they're a good team, but Donovan's a great team.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say both teams are great because the score was 42-0, and Donovan Catholic has a special team, and they're on pace to be playing the team that's going to be coming on later on to talk later on, Red Bank Catholic.
Yes, yeah.
That's going to be – I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to be going to that game. I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of people. A lot of people, all right? A lot of people will be at that game and get there early. But, they just got different guys that are scoring touchdowns. But, again, Dante Veneri defensively, getting that pick and going to the house. And they're having some fun while they're doing it. They do look like they're a very excitable team, and they got a lot to still look forward to. They got the whole season and the playoffs to go for. So that was a good win, but they want to play Red Bank Catholic, you know that, and rightfully say play the best teams out there. 42-0 win against Rawway. Coach, how about Wall playing Lenape? Wall's quietly showing that, we're getting our second win back, getting healthy, beating a Lenape team that I don't know too much about, but program-wise, traditionally, they're usually pretty good.
Yep, tradition, yep.
Wall was 31-17. Sasso is back, and the guy Delavi had 138 yards or 150 yards, 3 touchdowns. I picture them just getting ready for the playoffs. They had three losses, and now they want to get ready for the playoffs. And I'll tell you right now, if they're a 7 seed, would you want to play them if you're a 2 seed?
No. I mean, you think about Wall going into the playoffs, their losses are to RBC and Rumson.
And they were banged up.
Correct?
They're banged up, yeah.
Right. And now all of a sudden you put them back in their group where they're going to end up playing for state playoffs. That's a really, really tough battle-tested team that have gone through. And everybody else they played, they've basically rolled. So that's a
Yeah.
team. If they end up going, you imagine drawing them as a 7, like you said, 7 or 6 seed.
No.
That's a nightmare.
No.
That's a nightmare.
Well, it's not my problem. It's the other
No,
team's
it's not.
problems.
Not either one of our problems.
When you're in the media, you sit back, you smile, and go,
Yep.
"Good luck, boys." But they're going to be ready. If I was a betting man, which I am, I would put my money on Wall. They're going to be tough. They're going to be tough in the next couple of weeks. They really are getting healthier as we speak. And you know what? Everybody's banged up here and there, but we do know they had some of their dudes out. They really did.
Yep.
Coach, there's a secret out there that Manalpin's pretty good, but you and I both have said, Coach Lepore has a special group this year with Manalpin. Won 39-7 against a very good, explosive Freehold Borough
Another team that really people don't want to play. Exactly right.
I don't want to play them. No. Mike Heckel is just having a great year. He's the leader of the football team. I mean, he's got Elijah Marquez at running back, and he's thrown into a plethora of wide receivers. They're just playing good football, defensively, offensively, special teams. He's got it going. You know, Manalpin's back. Manalpin is back. They're looking at a number 1 or number 2 seed, depending on the next 2 games in the state playoffs. And, good times there. And they shut down Freehold.
I was just going to say, not to beat a dead horse. I mean, we've talked about this many weeks that, I coached against them last year, and I know Dom is a really dear friend of mine. He knew he was young last year. A lot of those kids got big game experience. You put that defense out there again, nobody. I'm telling you from experience, you end up going against, Kamir Gill and Calhoun with that empty set that Coach Ellis runs with Freehold and to hold them to 7 points. Not many teams do that.
Coach 26-0 at halftime.
Yeah, that's tough, man. I'm telling you.
When a game's like that, when a game's like that, I look right in the trenches and said they owned it.
Yeah, 100%.
You don't make a game go like that with just perimeter play. You own it up front. And Dominic's got some dudes up front.
Yeah.
Returns almost his whole team, O-line, just
and D-line. Yeah.
And D-line. I'm not surprised. I like to say I told you so. But they're doing really well there at Manalpin. Here's one for you now. Manasquan and Tom DeVries, 41-0. They're rolling.
I would love to see at the end of the year when we put our report together, like for the top players at their position, this quarterback position has so much talent this year. I mean, and again, kudos to you. You, especially this division that Manasquan was playing. This was quarterback division so heavy on quarterback level.
You know what I should do? I should just say committee will make the All-Star team. Because if I say that, I take all the onus off me and say the committee did it. But now we're going to do it. We're the committee. But yeah.
Brett Patton again lights it up with Coach Sella. Again, we talked about this again, how much ad nauseum, how Manasquan was going to change their look offensively. What's going on? Look what's going on with the Warriors now.
He's got weapons. He does. Coach Price has got weapons there at Manasquan. He really does. They're playing real well. They're a traditional state power, and just add this to the legacy of teams. They're going to be rolling into the playoffs. They're going to be playing Point Borough next week. It's going to be a huge game.
Great game. Ooh. Great game.
I wish you could clone me and go to other places.
I agree with that. That's a great game.
That would be kind of crazy. Clone
your
me?
wife wouldn't like it. Your wife wouldn't like it, but that's fine.
Well, I would give her a different. Which clone would I give her? Would I give her me?
Wasn't there like a Michael Keaton movie that had that? Yeah. Where he did like 3 different.
Oh man, really? Yeah, you're right. Multiplicity.
Multiplicity. That's right. That's
right. Good. Yeah, good.
And all of us coaches watch that and say, this might work.
Yeah. 28-0 Manasquan took the lead to Tonries and never looked back. They really ended up just a bunch of people. Jameer Howard, Woodward scored a touchdown. Kozlowski, I like that kid, Cole. I really do.
Yeah.
All scoring touchdowns from the General Patton. General Patton.
I love that. That's great. That is great.
Let me put that in my notes. Good.
Trademark that.
I like that. That's going to be said. But he's a junior too. Nice. Always nice that you have somebody like that, and he's coming back. Now, speaking of those guys that they're going to be playing. What's my list? Point
My
Borough.
apologies. I couldn't.
Versus Monmouth.
Point Borough versus Monmouth, the two division champs. You had the
I was
Patriot
just going to say,
National play
Monmouth
each
was
other.
the divisional champ. Exactly right.
Coach, it came down to the trenches. Point Borough is pretty good on both sides of the football.
Wow.
You don't win a game like that just from beating fades and all that. They're a good football team, Point Borough. They're really rolling. They beat a Monmouth team that's had some success this year that they haven't had in a while. But Charlie Vitale, 2 interceptions on defense, almost broke the second one for a touchdown too. He had 1 interception for a touchdown. Connor Reynolds, the DN. Remember that name, Connor Reynolds, a junior, outstanding football player. Yeah, he's quietly making a name for himself. Again, you got the Oliphant, the sophomore, outstanding multi-position athlete, Croce. I love that kid Skinner. That's big, 6'5", 300-pound dude.
Yep.
He seems to really love the game of football, and they're playing. And Ciliento had a great game. Connor.
Third level. We talked about this last week with Coach Staub. With the third level, you got your slot back. He runs for 146 yards on just 5 carries and 3 touchdowns.
So
that's incredible.
Think of that. Are you a math guy?
No, not at all.
He had 5.
You know what that equals? Forget about your math. Win. Yeah. That equals win.
If he did 15 carries, would he get 400 yards offense?
No, that's crazy.
Crazy. It's nice.
Listen, I keep lauding, and so have you. It was one of our great interviews that we had all year with Coach Staub last week. I keep lauding Point Borough. I love to see Point Borough play those top tier. This is such an intricate offense that he runs with them that they're hitting on all facets right now. That you have to game plan to stop. I mean, I really, really am excited to see where the Panthers move forward with the state.
Yeah,
this could be a really special year right now.
You ready for this one? Out and up. You tell me that during the week. I'm telling you, Lacey. Noah Brunetti hits Matt McClung under a minute left.
I was going to say, how much time?
Under a minute left to come back and beat Colts Neck. Lacey was down, I think, 2 scores, came back and won the game, made some adjustments. Scott Stevens on defense did a really nice job. Coming back from a knee injury from last year, he's starting to get his second win. But Noah Brunetti is having an outstanding football season. But Matt McClung was the hero of the day for Lacey, coming back to beat a Colts Neck team, playing without Tommy Fallon. But they're still a good football team.
You said that last week. Yeah.
They're still a good football team. Chris Scully, the sophomore running back, had a great game, 130-plus yards, 2 touchdowns. But it was Lacey's day, comeback win. 2 playoff teams again, both in different divisions, groups. Lacey coming back to win an exciting game. They were down, but that's that. Credit to them. Coach, Keyport, Keensburg, they played each other. Was that for the second time?
I actually asked somebody they were actually at the game I was at Friday night as well. I said, do you guys still play for the Bayshore Bell again? Because you played second time? He goes, absolutely. I'm like, well, what happens if they win the second game over the first game? Do they get to keep the bell the following year? They go, yeah. I said, okay.
I don't like that.
I don't like it either. That's
if I won it, I'm keeping it.
Okay. I mean,
so basically, if you win it and then you lose the next time, you have to give it back. Like it's giving back a gift.
That's where I was confused. Like, if I beat you the first time, now you end up winning the second game. You get to keep it in your school for the whole year until we play again the following fall.
I would bellyache. I would create something. I would kind of clone another one. Here, you got this one. Yeah.
Yeah, you and I wouldn't give it back.
I wouldn't give it back. Wait. I would try and win so I didn't have to give it back. Right, maybe that would be the easier way. But Keyport did win 30-14.
Keyport did it.
Yeah. Right. See, we're thinking all these ways on how we don't have to give back the bell. Just win.
That's right.
But would it be easier to give him a different bell? I don't know. That's a good thing. Well, that's an audible. But DJ Thompson is having, a great year. 3 touchdowns. Sophomore running back Nazir Treadwell had another touchdown. George Mitchell is outstanding. Good kicker, 36-yard field goal.
Yeah.
It's just another win. They're rolling. They got it going at the right time, Coach.
Yeah, just like I spoke about with Point Borough. I'm really eager to see with Group 1 where Keyport goes in the state right now.
Now,
who? Their one loss is to a Group 3 Monmouth team that won the division and great team. Let's see what happens with a Group 1 team with the athletes and the size that Keyport has for Group 1 to see where they go.
Yep. Big upset was Neptune beating Brick. Great job by Coach Duffy and the Neptune Flyers beating a Brick team that came in the game 4-2. Neptune was 1-3. You do the math, who won, who lost with that. And Devon Kraft, the sophomore for Neptune, had a great game, 130 yards. I think he had 8 tackles. He's an outstanding sophomore, one of the top sophomores in the Shore. And they got it wrong. Coach Duffy was really excited about the future because the kids are buying in. And I believe that by beating a Brick football team. I think it was home. I'm not sure. Was it home? I think it was at Neptune.
It was at Neptune. Yeah.
That's a huge win for Neptune. That was a tough loss for Brick. But Brick can bounce back with 2 more wins. Oh, no,
Well,
one more win.
2 things I will say about this. You're right, because you called it last week.
Yeah,
After they had their win.
I did say
and
that.
The week before they only lost 14-7. You said, I would not want to play Neptune. The athletes are starting to buy into what Coach Duffy's going on. Things are starting to change there.
That's right.
And 2, I have to give kudos to the defensive coordinator, Jake Pugh, over at Neptune. The whole Brick to 8 points with what they run with an offense here. That's a great win for Neptune. Now, this is an absolute scary team I would not want to play right now. They're on a 2-game winning streak. They just beat a really good Brick football team.
Yep. Great win for Neptune. It really was a great win for Neptune. So that's that.
Yep.
Then the last one, Coach, Tom Driver North beat Tom Driver South, and I think they call it the Civil War.
That's right.
Yeah, 28-6. Tom Driver North is not the youngest team in the Shore.
But they are young. You talked about that.
But they have everybody coming back except I think 3 seniors. They're going to be my preseason top 5 team next year because they got everybody really coming back, led by Micaiah Ford, the outstanding quarterback that's getting looked at by Division I.
Electric, absolutely electric.
He resembles Worthy, the guy from Freehold from years ago.
Yeah.
Resembles him, that style of play. They got some athletes there and beat a Tom Driver South team that's a little banged up. They beat them 28-6, rival game. They did it. They're 3-3. They're right now, I think, 8th or 9th out of the 16 in the Group 5 bracket. So they're going to fall somewhere between the 5 to 6 to 7, depending on how they do the next 2 games with that. So Tom Driver North is getting back in their winning ways with that.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the wrap-up, Coach, from last week. And, I'm going to do this again.
What do we do? Games are over.
It's over, man. No more. Throw that.
Regular season over.
Regular season. Is that what? It's still regular season, the next 2 games.
Well, what do you call it? We don't know what this season's called right now, Rob. You and I we don't know.
I don't know. Whatever. Just another game. Whatever. All right. Cool. All right. We're done with this. We're going to be back. We're going to shut off for a second, and we'll be back with Coach Mike Lange from Red Bank Catholic. And actually, my bad. After we do the coaches top 20, we're going to have Mike Lange from Red Bank Catholic on talking a little KC football, little number 1. We'll see. He's going to have a little swag to him too because he's the king of the hill right now.
Rightfully so.
All right, Coach. Here's the newly coaches top 20 poll that 23 coaches voted for. And again, I told you 3 coaches did it a little bit afternoon. It came in and I couldn't count it. So we really would have had 26. Week 8. What's your take just looking at this now, Coach?
Well, obviously, the number one thing that everybody sees is we flip-flop spots 1 and 2 with the game that took place on Friday night between Red Bank Catholic and Rumson Fairhaven.
Mm-hmm.
Red Bank Catholic, obviously, and deservedly takes the number 1 spot. Rumson, and agreed, deservedly stays at number 2. You have Donovan Catholic, 3 and 4. Records out the window. We all know the story there. Mid-South. The big movers are, huge win with Middletown North moving up 3 spots from 11 to 8. A huge win with Shore moving up from 17 to 14, moving up 3 spots. Asbury moving up 3 spots from 18 to 15. And the Hornets with a huge win against Raritan this week, moving up from 19 to 16, moving up 3 spots.
They are moving
up there.
They
Yep.
they
and
are.
then you had two teams that were on the bubble that we had last week with big wins with Tom's River North and Marlboro
Mhm.
jump out of the other receiving votes into the top 20.
Yeah, I mean, there's just a little jockeying going on here, there. Teams are all playing each other. It's like you got top 20 teams playing each other every week. So they might jump each other. They might move a little
Yeah.
bit higher, lower. Teams are getting hot. Teams are getting a little cold. Then some of the teams are receiving votes, want to get in. So there's a lot of fighting and jockeying going on with that. And it's always a credit to North and Marlboro getting back into the top 20, just looking from the bottom up. Colts Neck is dropping a little bit. Their injury to Tommy Fallon
Yep.
has hurt them, Coach. St. John Vianney's holding on, and their rally is they've played some tough teams, and they do not want to leave the top 20 at all. But Shore is moving up with Asbury Park. But looking up top, Middletown North is a team that is just keeps winning, and they're winning quietly, but they're
Yeah.
winning very impressively. If that they're playing both good offensively, defensively, and special teams. Manalapan too is playing really well. Long Branch, Middletown South undefeated. We got some quality football teams here that we can kind of, proudly show people in other division and other conferences out there, Coach. We really do.
We haven't had a chance to talk about this because I've actually gone to the game many times because I haven't played Thanksgiving Day in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
If this keeps up, this might be one of the most highly storied games in Thanksgiving Day in Middletown when North plays South.
Mm-hmm.
If these records hold up the way they're playing right now,
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember a Middletown North team and Middletown South both being ranked in the top 10 and then playing on Thanksgiving Day.
Tolans. It brings back the Barnes
Well, no, that's
and the
with Chris
Tolans.
Barnes and Pat Tolans. But
Yeah.
think about what you and I are age. We're talking back to the
Yeah.
mid 80s to early 80s. Think about that now. And I mean, I've been at those games where there's thousands of people. Think about it now, where you have one team that's undefeated and one with only one loss playing that level.
Yeah.
That's actually kind of exciting to watch. The other thing that's exciting, you watch the others receiving votes. Red Bank Regional is on the cusp of breaking the top 20. Who would have thought that in the beginning of the year?
I know. But when you're talking about Thanksgiving Day rivalries, we're going to talk about it a little bit later. You got Lacey Central playing.
Ooh.
You have Point Borough Manasquan playing.
Yeah, those are going to be good games.
And they're right in the middle of the top 20. I'm looking right at them right there. And there's some exciting games, Coach. There really are.
That's going to be great. You and I are going to be doing text messaging with turkey legs in our hand and our other one or our phone, talking about the games we're at.
I'll be eating something. I guarantee you that. So, yeah, but we won't tell my wife or my doctor that. But those are going to be big games. Rivalry games are always fun, fun to watch and play and do all that stuff. So that's that. Again, our week 8 coaches top 20 poll, everybody, is solid. It's consistent. And I think it's very impressive if you look from top to bottom and the teams that want to get in. We have a lot of fight and a lot of parity in the short conference, Coach, right?
Yep.
Good.
Yep.
Okay, special guest from Red Bank Catholic, the number 1 ranked football team in the coaches top 20 poll in the short conference. Coach Lange, thank you for coming on our show today.
I appreciate being here. Thanks for the time.
Oh, that's a pleasure, man. What a great game. And Coach Hoadley, you'll talk a little bit about that later on. But we got a lot to talk about in 15 minutes. We can't keep him any longer because he's got some game film to break down, right? On a Tuesday night.
Yes, sir. No doubt.
Install Tuesday.
Yes. Coach, we're going to get to that great game that you just played last week, but I want to talk about your first football season as a head coach at Red Bank Catholic. And it was during the COVID part of the season that we've never, ever experienced before. You were 4-2 last year in a very non-normal football season. How tough was it for you to be the head football coach at Red Bank Catholic during that time?
Well, I mean, I think it was just like everybody else, is challenging to say the least. But I think I was hired in February, and by March 13th, it was like, we'll see you in 2 weeks. The next thing you know, it was 4 months later, and it was, hey, good news, you can practice, but you can't use a football. I mean, it's just like all kinds of crazy things that you never imagined in your whole life to do. But yeah, it was challenging. You you're obviously concerned about getting that call that you're going to be shut down, and it's wearing on the kids. I think the mental side of it, is draining, especially on these kids where you have seniors that are like dreading that I might tell them they don't have a game.
Take it
And
away from them.
unfortunately, same thing. We had at the end of the year, we got nailed. We got nailed at the end, and it's a rough conversation to tell kids that we're not leaving the game we're not leaving your careers on the field. We're going to do it by a Zoom call. So, it was painful, but obviously we did the best we could. You had some success and something to build on.
That's a great point, Coach.
Yeah.
That really nobody talks about unless you're a part of the alumni that we belong to, is that football is so much different than any other sport where we have to buy in. There's so much time put into practice planning, game planning, and at any given time we can get that phone call on at 10 o'clock in the morning on a Friday, and all of a sudden say, "Hey, you can't play tonight's game," or "You can't play," and you could see the seniors' faces,
Right.
just have the life taken away from. I mean, it was such a different year that we've never ever been a part of last year, and it hit home so much in the world of football what we go through that can be taken away. That's such a great point you talked about with the seniors, that they lived on so much of an edge so all year long that really we always say play that game like it's your last game you're ever going to play, because
Yeah.
you never ever know.
Literally what it was. I mean, you think about it, Coach. Think about like you're practicing all of August last year, and you still didn't know if we were having a season.
Yeah.
Even though they gave us a schedule and said, hey, you're going to, but it was like, I forget what date it was, say August 29th was like the deadline. And we're all like sitting there like the night before saying our prayers, like, hope we don't get an email saying. So, to say it was trying was, but, we did with it. I think we collectively, the coaches around the state did the best they could for what the circumstances was. And, we try to give the kids whatever the best experience looked like last year. Unfortunately, we didn't finish it on the field, which I think at the end of the day you want to. But it is.
Well, listen, take a bow, because kudos to you. We both know we knew that you were prepared. That first game you played last year in the COVID year, and you did what you were supposed to do. Your coaching staff and your players, I'll give a true heartfelt congratulations. I mean, you guys did what you were supposed to do. Red Bank Catholic was prepared to play his season last year, and I saw that firsthand in the first game. So kudos to you.
All right, no more COVID talk. No more COVID. That was his first year. Let's speed up the process. Now he's into his second year with a really good offseason. Coach, you were on our show in the summer. You were really excited. You have a bunch of new pieces that came in, and you had to mold everybody together. You really did, and that says a lot about you, because right now you are 7-0. And, when you have new pieces in, you have younger guys coming in, an outstanding sophomore class. God darn, you got a lot of toys there. So, Coach, what were your thoughts going into this season, knowing you had some of your guys that you had, or maybe you didn't know? So what was your thought process from this year opposed to last year going into this season?
I mean, obviously it was, optimism and excitement. I mean, I think just like a lot of other schools, you gradually could get back into the weight room. You could do some things that felt normal. Maybe you could do some a little more in-person type meetings as you get there. I mean, our kids do a lot of off-site training. So, our kids were going to Val's down at Tinton Falls, and we just felt like we were building up to something special, because, if you don't have obviously you want to get bigger, faster, stronger, but you want that camaraderie with your kids, which, to be honest, we just didn't have last year, because how many virtual workouts do you do where kids are doing their own thing at their house and things like that.
Great point.
So, we were excited just at that part, and then we fast forward to what the summer was, and now it's like, okay, well, we can do things like a normal routine, and we had, we were going in the morning, so we were going. Our report time was 6:50 in the morning, and I could tell you, for the majority of the summer, the kids were all there by like 6:30, which was kudos to them. And you just saw that we were building sort of something special between the kids coming back. You mentioned my sophomore class, but there's still first year varsity guys at that point, and obviously the kids that came in here and bought into our culture, and I think it's a good or honestly I think it's a good family like unit right now, which I'm very happy about.
Coach, I'm glad you said that, because most fans, they only judge you by Friday night football games. they see you
Right.
guys overpowering team, all that. But you had a group of guys that were there 6:30 in the morning. That's incredible. You have some star players that I want to talk about, and I know, Coach, you have a couple names too. Some household names. You got a quarterback in Alex Brown, Sabino Portella, a two-way defensive guy, defensive back, and a running back. You have Rahan Cooper, a transfer from Mater Day, a linebacker, running back. Torin Harmon, who this was his second game, I think, that he was able to play, that had an outstanding game, big touchdown, a junior running back. Tight end Kevin Bauman, that we all know about, and I'm sure you're going to talk a little bit about him. Your wide receiver, Rahman, a junior. You got Hayes and Ross, a sophomore. You just have a lot of pieces, Coach. And on the other side, Coach, you'll talk about it, but there's one linebacker, Davin Bruton, having just a great year. And Coach, some of the linemen you want to talk about, because you were talking about it before we went on, that
1,000%. I mean, what I noticed, especially Friday night, I mean, I knew them from, obviously coaching against them last year. The left side of the line of Carpenter at left tackle and Ashton Mejias, who obviously I have a tie to at left guard, really imposed their will in the game against a really good, Rumson defense.
really good.
But then you look at the sophomores on the right side of the line with Travis Burham and, the younger Portella of, I played against Sabino, his dad, when he was in high school at Shore. Right. And now, you got his son at running back as a junior. And then the younger one at guard,
wow,
as a sophomore. I mean, I can't say it enough. What I was really impressed with is how the offensive line imposed their will, so to speak, in Coach Lange's offense and Coach O'Connor, what they do, how the RPO game really worked well. I mean, there was really, really an awe in my eyes to see these guys are aggressive. They bought into the culture. They believe in what's going on, and they execute really at the optimal level when it counts, when it comes inside the red zone. That's really what I saw.
Yeah. I want to know this from Coach. There's one football, and a lot of guys that can do a lot with the football, and different weeks have different guys have shined. How you doing it? How are you making these kids with the team first mentality to get to where you are right now, 7-0?
Well, I think, I think the challenge, especially at a place like ours, is, and I get it. It's like, we're a private school. It's like, my challenge to my kids was, especially places that we play, whether it's a Rumson or a Manasquan or, heavy cultured places where they're from, when they're kids up through high school, they have that family bond. And, that was always my challenge is like, Coach, I'm sure you could talk about it in modern day. Like, we talk about being a family-like culture, buying in, caring about the guy next to you, having your brother's back. So, have we had conversations at times like, hey, last time I checked, we only played one football? Absolutely. But I think our kids overall, they buy into the culture of what the bigger picture of this is, and avoiding noise. Like, you mentioned our three backs, like they get along great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They root for each other. You see that, and our skilled kids, our linemen, like it's all connected in the culture that we have, and I think that's a big part of our success as well.
Very
I think
impressive.
that's a great point. When especially touching on the three back coach, what I saw, Cooper will block as hard as he can for Portella, or Harmon will get out there, and you'll see Portella doing what he has to do and execute to be able to pick up any type of blitz coming off the edge.
Yep.
And then to see all three facets of Cooper, Portella, and Harmon be able to score. I mean, as a defensive coordinator, that's a nightmare to be able to have to face that all three play at that level 100%, because that's the toughest thing with a high school athlete is that when I don't have the ball, am I going to go just as hard? What I saw firsthand in the lights on the Friday, those kids played 100% balls out, go, and that's play.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's what we're shooting for. And I feel like that as a coach, that's a win in itself when you have guys that care about each other like that, especially in spots like that. Yeah, it was a special thing.
Coach, you started off the season at the showcase down in Ocean City, and different guys started shining. And I was like, wow, you did talk about him in the summer, and this sophomore might be pretty good. And you started getting stronger and stronger and getting better each week and more confident on both sides of the ball. that led you to where you are now? You're 7-0. You just played Rumson, who was the number 1 ranked team. You were number 2, and you flipped. You're now the number 1 team. You beat a very good Rumson football team, and you're rolling right now. You're into the end of the season. You're now the king of the hill. You're now the number 1 ranked team. Is there anything different you're saying to your team now that you are on top instead of chasing that top right now?
Great question.
Well, I think the thing is like I think for weeks now we've kind of said, hey, we're the hunter. We're looking, we're the hunter. And now it's, that conversation I had on Monday is now we're the hunted.
Yeah.
Now the bullseye goes from goes widens out big time here. But I think when you have leaders like Alex Bauman, who's been a 3-year starter, who's been through all the battles, who's quite honestly just playing his rear end off every week on both sides. I mean, his game against Rumson was about as dominant as I've seen in a long time.
I can't say that enough. I agree.
I appreciate that. Ryan McPherson's has been great. You didn't mention one of our linemen, Michael Keneally. He's been a 2-year starter at center. He's making all the line calls. He's the smallest lineman of our bigger kids. And he does a great job. And obviously, having Alex Brown at quarterback to kind of, lead the offense and really make the calls and the checks and things like that. It's been an enjoyable thing to watch.
That's great. That really is great. Now, you're not looking too far in advance because you have 2 good games right now that the short conference ADs put together. You're playing Group 5 Manalapan, who's having one of their better seasons, and then Donovan Catholic, who is having a great season too with that. So looking at those 2 games, that's going to help you probably in your playoff picture too, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think it helps, but look, I just think it's the moral of the story is when you come to Red Bank Catholic, like these are games that you want. These are why you're here, and no slight to Donovan, and obviously we'll get there next week, but it's just everything for my kids and all my staff has just been about what Friday night is because that's a good football team we're playing. They're a little different animal than what they've been in the past. I mean, they throw the ball a little more than, they do a nice job spreading it out. That's a great environment over there too, and it's going to be a big challenge. So, yes, obviously the teams that we got are, we're excited to play them and have an opportunity to show what we got, but it's just one game at a time right now. Yeah, I know there's a lot of things.
You are the game of the week every time you play, and you guys know that. And that's, like you said, that's what you signed up for. Manalapan and you, and then you versus Donovan Catholic will be the 2 top games in the short conference, right, Coach Hoad?
I agree, and I know Coach is kind of being humble a little bit because he's a defensive guy like I am as well. As much as we've talked about the offensive prowess and spreading the ball around with so many athletes, I can't say enough about what defensively RBC was able to do last week. I mean, to see the schematic, and I know everything that Coach Lange does. I mean, I've seen it firsthand from Amoeba all the way down to the 3. What he did with his schematic and the rest of the coaching staff on the defensive side, it was really, if you're a football guy, a true football guy, to sit back and watch what went on during the 48 minutes, it was really good football to watch.
I appreciate that, Coach. Yeah, our defensive staff did a great job. I mean, Kevin Gall does a nice job for us as far as every week, and we've had some kids pop up on the defensive side that are newer guys. I know I talked about my ends, but Ethan Donahue and Chris Holt on the inside.
Yeah.
Obviously, Davin Bruton. We have. I mean, I feel like our secondaries played phenomenal. I mean, our ability to play man to man at times we need has been a big bonus for us between Joe Diorio and Jaden Haynes at corner, Corbin Savini back there. It's been a great run here, and hopefully we just keep it going.
Yeah. Coach, now this is what media does. We talk a little bit in advance. So just answer the questions. Right, Coach? Let's speed up to the non-public Group B. What teams are out there? Because you're in the mix. You're in the mix for a state title. You really are. What other teams out there are in this newly formed non-public Group B that you would be competing for?
Hold on. You're not allowed to say the coach's answer that you and I would both say. We take it one game at a time.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to say that.
I already said that once.
Yeah. But what other teams are there? I know DePaul's down there.
It's DePaul, St. Joe's of Hamilton, Hudson Catholic, Holy Spirit. What is it? Bishop, St. Thomas Aquinas.
St. Thomas with Bishop
Mhm.
Bar,
Yeah. So it's a little different, but I'll be honest with you. I mean, the thing, especially obviously everybody knows DePaul, but those South Jersey teams,
Mhm.
like, they're they're just as good as the ones up north. You just don't know about them. So
Right.
we're gonna have some tall
I
tales.
know.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
you're gonna, we're gonna have some battles as the weeks go on. But again, we're excited for. We're hoping we take care of business the next 2 weeks and then see where it goes.
It's an exciting time because you'll be scouting and people will be scouting you. So there'll be different people in the stands on
Well,
both ends.
It's back to normal football. It's
Yeah.
back to normal playoff football.
It's awesome.
Think about it. You couldn't even go to a game last year.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Amen, Coach. I said that last week with again. I was talking to Coach Davis, and you'll see it. Back when we talked before,
Right.
how to be at the atmosphere I was at Borden Friday night, and to see the thousands of people that was there for short conference football, and people coming up either busting my chops or saying good job or whatever.
Right.
Talking about the podcast. I mean, that's really what I missed. To be in the atmosphere of what RBC and Rumson Fairhaven had Friday night. It really felt good. We're back to normal. Yeah, I really say it. We were back to normal where you could start to really be a coach again, where you could say, okay, let's think about this, and you start talking about that.
It's our alumni support is phenomenal. We had a whole side of the one side of the fence was just all alumni from guys from. I had somebody. I had Lonnie Burgess come talk to my team at the beginning of the week, and he was talking about when he played against Rumson 45 years ago. And I think it's important for kids to appreciate and hear that kind of stuff. And I think it goes a long way with the tradition that we have here.
Yeah.
And we're proud of it. So I think,
Coach, there was still people walking in where I was stationed down at the far end zone. There were still people walking in at halftime that had not seen the first and second quarter that were finally just getting in for the third and fourth quarter. I get goosebumps thinking, because that's short conference football, to see the top teams play against each other, to be a part of it and see it out there. Really, it was an awesome feeling.
It was unreal. When we played them in 18, the state championship year, I thought that was the most people I ever saw in a high school game, and I think Friday night was more. It was crazy.
It was incredible. It was incredible.
Coach, you got 2 games before the state playoffs. I think they're gonna be pretty crowded too. You're the big attractive game both times. So that's it. Yeah. Well, Coach, I promised him 15 minutes and then that's it. So he's got a Tuesday night. He's got a breakdown film. He better not blame us for taking 10, 15 minutes away from his sleep time. I'm not going to allow that.
Right.
But
if not, I'll text you on Friday night.
Yeah. Well, Coach Lange, I again, the Short Football Report wants to congratulate you on the win last week. You're now the number 1 ranked team that was voted upon the Short Conference Football Coaches, which means a lot because it's your own fraternity of guys. Rightfully so. Well deserved, and we're looking forward to covering you the next couple weeks and having a lot of success in the future, Coach. Really am.
Guys, I appreciate the time. Thank you very much. I'll talk to you guys soon.
All right. Best of luck to you guys, Coach.
All right. See ya.
Bye.
Conference, you mean something. Absolutely.
You mean the world to us. Just keep watching our stuff, guys. That's it, right?
Yep.
That's awesome. So let's get right into it right now. Let's talk about Point Beach playing Keensburg. Okay, I got to get my notes.
Huge.
This is how I was in high school when I was there. I mean, very unprepared at times with my homework, and this is here it is. It was underneath stuff. Well, let's talk about Point Beach, who has 1 win, playing Keensburg, who's got 3 wins, and they play each other twice now, right?
Correct, in the National Division.
That was the deal. They were.
Beach,
this is their second game. So is that an advantage to play each other twice? More for the team that won or for the other team that lost?
I think it's a disadvantage if you won. I mean, that's just coming from my schematic. The Group 1s have to play each other twice.
Right.
Do you hold back in the first game and not show them everything that you have? Or do you put everything on the table, win the game that you want to play that day, and then worry about the second game when it gets to it? I don't know. I mean, but this is, a historic Group 1 divisional game between, the Gulls and the Titans here. So can it go either way? Absolutely. I mean, obviously, Coach Sacone's got them going on a beach. Keensburg had a tough loss last week. Do they bounce back?
I tell you what, though, about Coach Sacone, something about him that he just very, very optimistic, and he gets. I mean, they're playing Barnegat, and Barnegat was the better team. It was 6-0 at half, and they dropped a touchdown pass. I mean, there was no reason for them to even be in the game. And Point Beach played their tails off. This is going to be a tight game. They play competitive football at Point Beach. Keensburg, they have.
Yep.
How do you pronounce his name? I can't say Mikhail.
Mikhail Braithwaite.
Mikhail Braithwaite. And I know he's a stud athlete, but they got him, and he's always the best or one of the best players on the field every game. So that's what it's about. Close game. It's a rivalry. At Keensburg. They're hard to pick, that division. That division's so hard to pick.
Especially when you're talking Group 1s against Group 1.
But two teams that are well coached. Coach Bird does an excellent job every year. Defensive-minded coach going in with Coach Saccone, who's got all that enthusiasm, and they always want to – it's us against the world because they're the smallest team in the short conference. So that would be very interesting for both teams to go watch a game on a Saturday, Coach. Then you have Pinelands, who is 3-3, playing against Manchester, who was 2-5. Manchester took a forfeit from last week. They could not play. So you have Pinelands now. It's interesting because Coach Wilkie used to coach at Pinelands too, so it's a little bit of a rivalry that way too. Pinelands Manchester's always been a very close game. Traditionally, they always would play each other. Pinelands has been playing tough football. Last week they got 42-0. They lost to Shore. But I look for this game to be very, very close, Coach. Are you there? You disappeared?
No, I'm just plugging in my battery charger. I'm listening, my friend.
It was a little. I don't know if I lost you, but Pinelands is playing good football. Except for last week, I look for this to be a close game, like a 17-14, 20-14 type of game. Can go either way. It really can go either way. Pinelands does not have the athletes to compete with Manchester on the perimeter, but let me change that. Manchester doesn't have the guys maybe to play in that phone booth.
To play in the phone booth, correct?
Yeah. Yep. So very interesting contrast in styles. I'm curious to see who wins that game, but I think it's going to be close. It won't be a blowout. Either way.
I agree.
Either way. Now you got Lakewood, who's got one forfeit win, playing Barnegat, who's 4-3. I'm going to tell you right now, I don't think these two.
I don't understand this game.
I don't understand this game.
I don't mind you. So I'll take the heat. So you don't have to take it, obviously, with your ties to Barnegat. I don't understand this game, how this game gets scheduled. When you look at records and, competition to play, what they play in divisions throughout the year. So I don't understand.
Nothing against LJ, but Barnegat's 4-3. Right. They should not have played this game that was put in by the committee. They were 0 for team. Barnegat was 3-3. It doesn't make sense when we're trying to play comparable games, and then Barnegat plays this team. And I get it. Everybody was saying that too. But it is what it is. But it doesn't help really Barnegat for playoffs. It doesn't.
Correct.
Because there's no the OSIs and all that.
That's the first thing I looked at, Coach. Exactly.
Yeah. Lakewood's considerably down this year. A lot of injuries, and they just don't have high numbers. It'll be a tough game for Lakewood to play. Barnegat's JoJo Bivens is going to be the best player on the football field, and I look for Barnegat to be okay in this game with that. But that was just my take on that stuff right there. Next game is Monmouth playing Jackson Liberty. Monmouth 5-2 playing Jackson Liberty 1-6. This you could say the same thing about this game too, Coach. Monmouth, is the conference champs playing Patriot Division, who's, they're at the bottom of the division there. So look for Monmouth to do okay. I think they got the athletes. They're playing a lot better football they did in the past. But Jackson Liberty is okay. Is more of a defensive team. Keep the clock running. So maybe the game will be a lot closer than people expect. But Monmouth needs this win to stay. To give them a chance for the state playoffs.
playoffs.
Monmouth Regional, playing in the smaller division has hurt them because they're 5 wins and they're a Group 2 school. They don't have OSI, the opponent strength index. So they need to win basically 7 games to get to the playoffs. If they lose one of the next 2, and they got to play Liberty and Neptune, and you know Neptune stuff.
Yeah.
If they don't win both, they're not making the playoffs.
Yep.
They will not
I
make the
agree
playoffs,
with you on
Coach.
that.
They won't. Ocean Neptune. Speaking of those guys, Ocean's winless right now, 0-7. They got to play Neptune, who's I like to think in the last 2 weeks is one of the hottest teams in the shore right now.
Yep.
Just from where they were before to where they are now. Neptune with Coach Duffy's got them. They're 2-3. They have athletes. They're playing with confidence, and they're going to be a tough game. They're going to be a tough game. If Neptune wins the next 2 games, they're in the playoffs.
Here's a 2-3 team.
Yeah.
That has the last 2 wins on a winning streak, and their last loss, they lost by 7 points, 14-7. So they could easily be 3-3 with a 14-7 game.
Yeah.
Now going into an Ocean team, that's a great point, but and again, kudos to you. You talked about Neptune the last couple of weeks with the athletes starting to buy into the culture. This could be a team that catapults right into the States right now.
And then, you know what? I could also see this a week later from now, us going, I didn't see it. Ocean, right? Because
Sure.
Coach Klein, he's got those boys, working hard and doing this. I know they had the injury bug.
Monster schedule all year.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's matchups. You don't know what the matchup's like until the game day, and this potentially could be an upset. And I do consider it an upset if Ocean beats Neptune because I think Neptune's having a little more success this year under their first year coach, Coach Duffy. Freehold Township versus Tom East. Okay. Which Freehold Township team is going to show up?
Do we say? Exactly right.
The 2-5 Freehold Township, who loves to throw the football in the last 2 weeks with Mark Aguayo throwing for high numbers and high touchdowns against Tom East, who has not really been clicking since they beat Tom South in the beginning of the season, Coach. Interesting. But Freehold Township right now, if they win this next game, it's going to be pretty interesting the next couple of weeks because they'll get some confidence with that sophomore quarterback, Mark Aguayo, throwing the football. Yep. Be very interesting for your time. But again, which team is going to show up? Again, even Tom East. Is it the same team that beat Tom South?
Right.
Going to show up? Because if they play like that, they're going to win the game. If Freehold Township plays like they did against Howell, well, then Freehold Township wins. It depends on which team shows up with that.
Yeah.
Mattawan, Brick Memorial. Mattawan's that dangerous team. They're 2-5. They kind of have the little spurts. They're very young. They're very young, Coach. Very youthful. And that's not an understatement. I mean, you might have young guys in the trenches that just aren't ready to be varsity players. Or maybe they are. Maybe it's a mismatch with a senior going against a sophomore 1 week, and then the next week they're doing okay. But you never know when you have young guys. Brick Memorial is not on the winning ways. They're 1-5, but they're fighting tough games with everybody, and they have that stud quarterback Connor Dietz, who's a sophomore. Somebody's going to win and feel good into that next game of the next week. I don't know which team's going to show up on both ends again. Which team will show up? Because Brick Memorial lost some tough games that they battled tough. Brick Memorial's not like losing right from the first snap no. They're losing in the second half and they're keeping it close. And they're not getting just rolled over, 40-0. They're a very good football program with Coach Curry. I would never count out Coach Curry. Good friend of mine, and he's always got those guys fighting to the end, Coach. He really does. And I mean end to the season, too.
Yeah, this is a game like the resounding thing is a record of a team coming from the division and the schedule that they playing other teams now when it comes down to it. The team that has to come up and play a team like a Brick Memorial, do they show their moxie and play teams hard?
Right.
Or does the team saying, listen, we're battle-tested all year, playing tough teams. Now we're going to play a lower group team. What happens here? This is going to be an interesting week.
You want to talk about interesting? Let's talk
There's
about
another one.
Brick
Marlboro
Township.
TR South. Yep.
Brick Township 4-3 playing 1-6 Jackson. On paper, you say, okay, let me put all my money on Brick. Wait, hold it. You start doing research. Jackson has played some pretty good football teams. I'll have to say.
Might be the best, before Jackson Liberty last week, the best winless team in the state.
Is that an award you want to have?
I don't know. I mean, there's something for staying in the ring and fighting your heart out.
They fight, Coach. Jackson's not used to being 1-6, and they're not used to being 1-7. But what they are used to doing is playing to the end, to the end. And they got guys that I know that run through the wall for Coach Mistretta. Now,
1,000%.
I know Lenny real well, another good friend of mine. Lenny's going to have these guys fighting. After a loss to Neptune, and they got their backs to the wall, they need to beat Jackson to make the playoffs. That's it. Brick playoffs.
At Jackson.
Is it at Jackson?
It's at Jackson.
It's at Jackson. Okay. Oh, brother. Good.
That's a tough game.
Yeah. That's going to be a tough game. Two rival schools. One rival is 1-6 and not used to it. Brick just lost a tough game on the road last week. Going to be a lot of emotion on that field.
A lot of history between two schools, too.
Lots of excitement, too. So that'll be a good game to cover, Coach. Good. Marlboro, the number 19th ranked team, got back in the top 20. Coach D'Agato's got them there. They're 4-2. They're 4-2. They're playing now Toms River South, and they're not used to playing each other. This would be a huge game for Marlboro to beat a team like Toms River South, who they have. Toms River South is always tough at home with the Indian, the crowd, the atmosphere. South has had some injuries they got to overcome, and they play tougher. Toms River South right now is always better than you want them to be because they have some injuries, Coach. They have new guys filling in roles, and that is usually the saying I say. That team is better than you want them to be. And Toms River South is a team that could surprise Marlboro. How could I say that? Didn't they beat Freehold?
That's right.
Yeah, and Freehold's not a bad team, Coach. Right? So
Marlboro is really, they have to fight every week for state playoff PowerPoint to be able to get seated. I mean, they're right at I want to say 19 or 18 with the top 16 with the group fives. They have to win these games. So they're fighting playoff games every week that they're playing right now.
I'm going to tell you right now who needs to have a big game for them to win. Not Zach Mendez, Ryan Mendez. The outside linebacker, wide receiver.
Yeah.
And then the kid, Matt Cassidy, the sophomore safety. We already know about Zach Mendez, but A.J. Schwartz and those guys, they need to come up big for them to beat Toms River South. And they can. Yep. And Toms River South is got a lot of fight in them. So it's going to be a game where somebody else might have to come out and make some big plays. And Marlboro, big difference between 4-3 and 5-2. This win here really separates their record, and it's going to be huge for Marlboro. It really is. Coach, number 20, St. John Vianney. They got a lot of fight in them. They really do. They've lost some tough games. They're 3-4. St. John Vianney, kind of like people are forgetting about them. They drifted to 20th. We had them a little higher in the poll at the beginning of the year. They're at 20 right now, St. John Vianney, playing Toms River North, who's 3-3. One of them is a forfeit win, who's the 18th ranked team. Interesting game. I know there's going to be a lot of athletes from sideline to sideline playing in this game right here. Toms River North is used to playing in the American. And then we have St. John Vianney from the Federal. Now we're going to see what kind of matchups it is because it's hard to tell. Toms River North is a good football team with a lot of young talent, and oops, that's what happens with my phone. A lot of talent's gonna be on that field, and that's a toss-up right now.
See, where I'm looking at it now, where we're starting to get into these games for week 8, the top 20 that you created, this is where it's going to start really getting complicated to picking games. Where you really have to start looking at what's going on. This is, it's number 20 versus 18 right now in the current short conference, top 20 poll that we have. Which way do you go right here? I mean, these games are going to really be competitive right now. St. John Vianney traveling all the way down to Toms River North, younger team. Zakai at quarterback,
Right.
one of the most electric guys that Coach Oz has down there. Against St. John Vianney, who's played a really tough schedule. What's going on with the Rosado kid at quarterback? This is a showcase of quarterbacks right here.
Oh, a lot of talent. You're right. Watch the football because the guy touching it is going to be very, very impressive in this game right here. Coach, Colts Neck, interesting. Number 17 ranked Colts Neck. They're sliding down. They have some injuries. They're playing real tough. I don't know the update on Tommy Fallon. I don't know what's his situation, but they are a different team without him.
If you did know, you wouldn't tell me anyway when it comes to our picks.
Oh, I'm keeping it quiet with that. Yeah. Playing Howell, who just lost, and I really thought they were going to turn the corner and even out their record. Instead, it's 2-4. But we're going to see again, teams' character is going to come out. What kind of team are you? What's your makeup? You don't know until you hit adversity.
Yeah.
Things might be going easy to a kid, and boom, all of a sudden they lost. We're going to see you bounce back. Colts Neck is 3-3 right now, and they're looking at playoffs, and they had high hopes and all that, and we never count on injuries, and when they happen, you got to overcome it. I know that phrase "next man up" stinks, Coach, when you have to keep saying it.
Yeah,
stinks.
I agree.
I've been there, done it, man.
Colts Neck is 3-3, playing in that division that they played in this year. With Mid-South.
Black and blue. Black and blue.
Southern. I mean, just exactly. That's a great way to say the division. And I mean, to see 3-3, obviously losing. They're starting quarterback down for the last couple of weeks. What's going on?
I'm going to say one thing though. Howell's been very effective in the past game. Jordan throwing the football. Gardenstein, Vecchiarelli. Is it Vecchiarelli or Vecchiarelli? Him at the receiver. They can throw the football. They're tall receivers, these guys they got against a Colts Neck who's in the box tough.
Well, that's what I was just going to say to you. How do you keep that out of a type of quarterback rated offense like that? You run the football and control the clock.
Run the football.
If Colts Neck does it, then you're okay.
Yeah. Howell's been giving up a lot of points too. So, they're going to have to shorten that up a little bit to allow their offense to throw the football and make the game a little bit longer. The teams that throw the football want to make the game longer. In other words, drop passes or time stopping and all that stuff. Very interesting contrasting styles. We'll find out. Again, we don't know about the quarterback status because that is a big thing with that. Frio Burrow, who's 3-4, at number 16, Homedale, who is 3-3. Homedale.
Totally two different offenses here.
Homedale surprised me this year because I thought that they were over their head a little bit in the division they were playing in.
And Coach Rannis admitted that. He did.
You think he was sandbagging?
No. He knew what he was facing with the numbers he has for his program. He knew it.
Okay. Good. Because he's pretty good.
Yes, he is.
And one thing he can't do is take a compliment from me. When I give him a compliment, he gets this, that, then he apologizes. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not used to hearing apology. Well, I said, that's real simple. I'll stop complimenting you. So, but he's got to work on that because he's got a lot more coming. I'll tell you that. 3-3, they're playing tough. They're playing really balls out for him. Again, they surprised me, beating Jackson, winning last week to Raritan. Says a lot about their character of their team. And now they're playing Frio Burrow, who's hitting a little adversity. They're 3-4, and they were sniffing. They were feeling pretty good about themselves, Coach.
Yeah.
So I mean, they need to win this game for playoff stuff. I didn't really break down their groups and all that, but Homedale's looking good for the playoffs. This is a big playoff game for both teams.
Listen, you look at both of the teams here. You're talking about Frio Burrow with Kamora Gill and Calhoun in the empty set that Coach Ellis presents against Homedale with Jaden Gow leading, the triple option that Homedale runs. It's totally two different schematics and mentality of what they want to do offensively. It's just what defense really rises to the occasion and steps up here.
Yeah. Next game, Coach. I do not think this was a good matchup that was put in place. You have Asbury Park is a Group 1 school playing Raritan, who's a very good traditional football program, who's Group 2. At
Yeah.
some point, Asbury Park needs some relief. You
I
can't
was
keep
gonna
playing
say,
up.
because
You can't
they
keep playing
saddle
up.
with Asbury Park with a Group 2 or 3 schedule anyway. What they put them into.
Asbury Park's got 22, 23 kids on the team.
Yep,
After a
yep.
football game, it takes around 2-3 days to recover. Then you
Yep.
put the pads on, you're playing again. I don't think this is. I know they're having a good season and all that, but it gets to the point. Are we trying to bruise them up into the playoffs? Because
Yep.
do you want to go into the playoffs and compete, or do you want to limp into them? I don't know.
Or would you, or if I may, and this is my own personal opinion, not the Shore Football Report, but would you rather have a team do well in these so-called games that you created, or would you rather have a Shore Conference team come back and claim a state title?
Yeah. You need
Right?
relief.
Am I right or am I right?
Asbury Park versus Raritan. Raritan's a physical team. They have a lot of guys back from last year. They've been dented up. Carey's back.
Mm-hmm.
They're still dented up. They played a tough schedule. Again, Red Bank Catholic, Manasquan, they're good teams. And at the end of the year, we're going to say, look at them.
Yep.
But Raritan needs to win one of these games. And Raritan needs to win against Asbury Park in order to establish themselves as some type of a playoff team with a threat. If not, if they don't win this game, Coach, it's going to be tough. I think there'll still be a 7-8 seed if they don't do well in the next 2 games. But Raritan needs to win this game. Really,
And
I think this is a key game.
And the key ingredient here is Raritan's traveling to Asbury Park to play there.
Yeah.
Where Asbury's on a little bit of a high, and I've played there, I've coached there. When they're running and they're doing well successfully, that's a tough place to play right now.
Raritan has to win the trenches, and Asbury Park can run and throw, but their linemen who go both ways are going to be tested with Raritan. Raritan's got some pretty nice sized linemen, so this is going to be huge. Raritan needs to wear them down up front to allow their pass rush and all that to be a little more effective. Would you agree?
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
Big game for Raritan. They need to win this game. They really do. Red Bank 3-4 playing Shore Regional, the number 15th ranked team in the Shore.
Wow.
Shore's getting better each week. Playing a Red Bank team that has a lot of power points for both teams.
That's getting better each week.
For both teams.
Yeah.
Could I, I'll probably get a message from Shore, but this could be a game. I'm just going to say this out loud. This could be a game that could be an upset. And I'm saying that just because Red Bank seems to be playing a tough schedule and getting a little better at the same time. Does that make sense?
Or it could be a game that comes down to special teams. And Red Bank last week had 3, not 1, not 2, but 3 touchdowns on special teams.
Can you imagine fearing punting the ball because they may score? Crazy, right?
Yeah.
When you can win different ways via pass, a run, punt block,
field position,
that's scary.
Right?
I'm going to tell you right now, and this is no disrespect to Kaz because he's going to have those guys playing. They're a young football team. Jamie Mazzacco, one of the best. One of the best players out there. But Red Bank is a team that kind of scares me because it's like, wow, they did this week. Wow, they did this week. Wow. Yep. Again, first-year coach, with his staff and the players, they're getting better. Circle this game. This game right here can really vault Red Bank into the playoffs with one win.
Agree.
And say the name Shane Fallon and playoffs, it goes together. Remember that.
Yeah.
Shore Regional is going to be a 1-4 seed in the South Jersey Group 1. This game right here, there's just some games, Coach, that I look at, and I said that about Neptune. I said that about Neptune and Brick. Something about Red Bank Shore that kind of like maybe it's not as obvious one team's going to win more than the other. And there's something. I don't know. I got something about Red Bank. I'm not going to tell you my pick yet, but.
I'm not either, but I guarantee you this. Friday night at Shore, there'll be a lot of people there.
You think so?
Yeah, absolutely.
Really?
You'll get a Red Bank continued there that are buying into the program, and I know what Shore brings on Friday night.
Yeah.
This place is going to be rocking Friday night.
Okay, cool. Good game. Number 11 Central just coming off their first loss. They're 6-1 at number 13 Lacey, who is 4-2. Coach, when Lacey's traditionally really good, but when Central has that special year, the game elevates when they play. Central Lacey is a rivalry from day one when they first separated from Central. Central's a good team.
Well, I was going to say, you're going to have a really good aspect on this compared to me. I
Yeah.
mean, you've seen both teams play
Good.
live, which I haven't. I mean, I've only seen, the snippets in film.
I'll be there. I'm telling you right now,
But-
I will be there.
I mean, this is really two storied programs,
Yeah.
that want to run the football, play defense, and so to speak, I mean, and it's 11 versus 13. I mean,
I'm excited to watch this game. There's going to be a lot of emotion because it's rivalry. Guys know each other and this and that. Two good football teams, and they're in the same. They're good. They're in the same bracket for the playoffs.
Yeah.
They're both jockeying for, whoever wins is going to be higher than the other one in the seeding, and they may play each other in the playoffs. You never know. You never know. You got a young coach in Jared Pigeon, second year, and he's doing as good a job as anybody in the short conference. And Coach Versillo just won his 300th win a couple weeks ago. Contrasting coaches that way, and this is exciting. I just love
I'm going to put you on the spot. Is it tougher to play at Central or is it tougher to play at Lacey?
Well, let me say this. Playing at Central with the team that Central has is pretty tough. Is that like a traditional question?
Traditional, yeah, absolutely.
Something about Lacey, but Lacey's different now. They play Friday nights. Saturday.
I'm glad you said that because I remember the traditional Lacey teams were Saturday afternoons.
Lou doesn't like Friday nights. He likes to sleep by 7.
That's what I wanted to hear you say. Thank you very much. Okay.
Coach Versillo, doesn't like Friday night games because he likes to be sleeping by 8:00. So
I remember when I was in high school when Keith Elias was in the backfield. It was Saturday afternoons. That's what Lacey football was.
Oh God. I mean, I could do a 2-hour segment on Coach Versillo, coaching with him, at Lacey. Love him to death, but the Lacey crowd, the Lacey community is very passionate. Central, their crowd last week was very impressive. They're bringing it to Lacey. There's going to be a lot of excitement in that crowd. It really is. It's going to be a great game. A lot of respect for both teams. Both teams do. Star power. Gumbrat, running back, one of the top running backs in the state, not just short conference. I really like that quarterback, Sizzler, that freshman. Just well coached. I thought Central was so well coached. It was really nice to see on offense and defensively. Just I respect teams. I love watching well-coached football teams go.
Absolutely.
I just do.
Yep.
I do. And it was a great game last week when I saw Central. I think Central Lacey is going to come down. It's going to be a 10-point game. I don't know who's going to win. But all I know is going to be an exciting game watching it.
Good call.
I don't know. We'll find out Friday when I pick.
Yep.
So, I'm going to get a lot of boo birds from either team. So I'm thick-skinned. I think I am with that. Manasquan, number 10 Manasquan at number 12 Point Borough. God, is there any relief from us? Can we have a game?
I just said that. That's what I mean. 3 games ago, where I'm starting to see the schedule, the parity that's going on right now. I mean, it's all matching up with the short conference top 20 poll.
Can they give us a break? I mean, can it be like the New York Jets playing, the Patriots, where everybody knows who's winning? It's crazy. We got Manasquan 4-2 versus Point Borough, who is 6-0.
Oh.
Rival. They just go over the bridge and, they all know each other.
Big time rivalry here. With 2 teams that offensively want to do kind of somewhat different things.
Different.
You know what I mean?
Different. The RPO offense of of Manasquan and the RPO offense of Point Borough, but RPO for Point Borough is run people over.
It's go to the third level.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
So Both well-coached teams, both sides of the football. There's going to be a lot of excitement in the stands. Again, this is something the fans want to go see. You know what's amazing? There's every game is going to be crowded. It's not just like everybody's going to one game. It's going to be like spread out all over the place. A lot of great players.
I know I'm going to get a text from you by Thursday telling me I need a pick for Swan Barrow. What are you going to do? And I'm telling you right now, I don't know what to do with that game. I mean, these are games that you're really, really going to be on the fence of either side here. I mean,
and I'm not changing it. You're not going to be like, oh, I got a report. Flip it. Give me Burrow. I'm not going to. It is what it is. But I wonder what game you're going to pass on. You get one pass.
I've already circled 3 games already that I might pass on.
I circled the whole paper. Good.
3 games already.
God darn, man. Yeah, Manasquan's got a lot of firepower. We already know the quarterback, Pat, and all that. But the in the trenches, J.J. Kavanaugh, on Manasquan, and Point Burrow's got just a wave of guys. It's just an exciting game. It really is. So I'm sure one of us will be wrong in our picks in that game, Coach.
Wow.
Good game. Two teams that are looking at home games for the state playoffs.
Yep.
Wow. State playoffs. Number 8, Middletown North at number 7, Wall.
It doesn't get easier here.
Jesus. 3-3 Wall versus 5-1. 5-1 Middletown North. I was at the game. Middletown North lost. They could have won. Should have won. Yeah. It happened at the end of the game. So you're talking about a team that potentially could have been undefeated.
Yep.
Don't count out Middletown North. Now, with that being done and said, I still have in my head Wall's going to be challenging for a championship.
Mm-hmm.
So how can you count them out? You look at them; they're the 7th-ranked team coming into the season. They were number 1, but now they're focusing on they redid their goals, and now they're looking at the playoffs. Right?
Mm-hmm.
They redid their goals. They didn't win the division. They have to recover from some injuries, and some guys were out for the year. And now they say, let's get better for the season, the playoffs. My bad. And I believe in their program's philosophy with that, and they're going to be tough. And this is one of their steps of getting ready for the state playoffs because Middletown North is going to be as good as anybody they played.
Yeah. Well, here's the 4th circle of a game I have no idea about. I mean, you have a team like Middletown North that's having a quality year that can really make a good state run here. Mm-hmm. But there's a lot of power points on the board here for Wall when it comes to OSI for their Group 3 ranking against the Middletown North team that's 5-1 already.
How do you take the aggressiveness away from Wall's linebacker Sasso? You throw the football.
You absolutely do.
You run draws.
You run screens. You run draw. It's absolutely right.
Coach, I just said what Middletown North's offense does. They throw the football, they draw, they screen, they false pull.
They run the bubble. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. They false pull. I mean, again, matchups. Very interesting. Coach Bush with his schemes against Coach Granati with his defensive philosophy and all that. Real interesting game.
But game is at Wall on a Friday night.
Yeah. Number 9, Southern Regional at number 3, Donovan Catholic. Southern's 4-2. Donovan Catholic 3-4. With the forfeits.
Southern's a battle-tested 4-2. Battle-tested.
Yeah. Last year, Southern played them real tough. Probably tougher than anybody.
I agree.
It's at Donovan Catholic though. But it was last year too.
Yeah.
But I think Donovan Catholic's better than last year. I think they're more explosive. I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know about that.
No? They were good last year.
They were pretty good last year.
They were pretty good last year. I mean, this team's pretty good, Coach. Yeah. The thing is Dante Veneri going to get another pick for a touchdown?
He's got 4 of them already.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if Southern, Jaden Brown's they're going to have to rely on Jaden Brown running the football and playing linebacker like he always does. He's a workhorse. He's a dude. He's involved in every tackle out there, Coach. He really is.
He had a good win last week. Yeah, Southern had a good
Coach,
week.
he has as good a balance as anybody in the short conference when running football. Big, strong,
Yeah.
225-pound kid, low body, lean, just a tough football. He's a baller football player. When you
Yeah.
pick your all-star teams, he could play any position and make it. He could be a linebacker. He could be a running back on the first team all sure. That's what he's one of the better football players in the shore. Going against a
Yeah.
Donovan Catholic team that's explosive. They're fast. They're explosive. They can score quick. And
Yeah.
their defense is scoring too. It doesn't help.
Yeah.
And then they can on a punt return, a kick return. So they got to stop all those. And the one thing that Southern's good at is stopping big plays.
I was just gonna say, if Southern can stop the big play and control the clock a little bit and keep the ball out of DC's hands,
Yep.
you got a shot here. If you let DC get out there and really stride their legs and spread their wings, so to speak, then you're playing catch up with the type of offense that they have to do. That's not their game plan with Southern.
If Southern can't run the football, it's going to be a long day. If they can run the football, move the chains against Donovan Catholic, they're going to squeeze the time, maybe give them a chance, hopefully stay involved in the third, fourth quarter. And if that's the case with Coach Donahue and his staff, they're very well coached there. Maybe it's a game that they can steal one. And it would be his steal, Coach. It would be a big upset if Southern beat Donovan. Could it happen? It could. Donovan Catholic, though, is trying to regroup after those forfeit games and make a statement and make the game next week even bigger when they play Red Bank Catholic. Are they looking ahead? We'll find out. We will find out. Number 4, Middletown South, who is 5-0 versus number 2, Rumson. I was just looking at Coach Antonucci's interview that he did over the summer with me, and to where he is right now, it's right on target. He loved his team. He felt like that they're back. They had a great offseason, a lot of depth. They're right where they're at, where they want to be at. Playing Rumson now, who's coming off a loss. God, Rumson's getting no relief. Nobody feels bad for Rumson. They're Group 3 school, and they're just playing the toughest teams around, and now they're playing the Colonial Division champs.
And they embrace it.
They are.
And South is coming off a bye week.
They are. They are.
I mean, I'm looking at things already, Mouse. I'm already looking at it.
I get where you're coming. I know what you're doing. Could Middletown South playing lights out defensively. Offensively, they're doing good enough to win. They are. They're not blowing people out, Coach. They're not by. I mean, they scored 97 points in 5 games, and they're 5-0.
Yep.
They're averaging under 20 points a game, and they're 5-0. But they're giving up 7 points a game.
They're playing defense, exactly right. Yep.
They're playing defense. And Rumson doesn't give up a lot of points. So what I'm saying is it's going to be a low-scoring game.
I agree with you on that. The ball's going to stay on the ground.
Under 17 points, I can see it happening. They both play good defense, good special teams, and they're going to keep the clock moving. It's going to be somewhere between 17 points to whatever, but I don't think it's going to go any higher.
This game's got like a 10-3 or 10-6 game written all over it.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, why even go to the playoffs? You just played your playoffs right now. Pack it up after this game. Everybody's done. Incredible schedule. I don't remember this being this. Again, I wasn't a media guy, right? Maybe it was like this, but I don't remember it like this. Jesus. Right. Big game there for Rumson and Middletown South. Again, enormous power points for the winner. Enormous. Number 1, Red Bank Catholic. First week they're playing as the number 1 ranked team. We just had Coach Lange on our talk show, and he's excited and playing the number 6 team, Manalapan. Manalapan's getting the enhanced power points. They're getting a multiplier. So they're sitting good. So from a PowerPoint situation, they're getting the max.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to see Manalapan, win or lose, Manalapan is fine. So it doesn't affect them with the PowerPoints because if they beat Red Bank Catholic, they get a little bit more, but they're getting the max for just playing them. But but
it affects them. You know Coach Laporte as well as I, especially with the special season they're having.
Yeah.
They want to win this game. I mean, the multiplier points is great when you're playing the privates.
Mm.
They want to win this game. They're at home on a Friday night. Listen, I've been there. The American flag's going to be flying. Manalapan's going to be walking down. Those stands are going to be packed. It's going to be a good atmosphere.
Do you know what multiplier points come with? You see, you don't realize it. See, you're a parochial school. When you get multiplier points, it comes with Band-Aids and bruises. It does. I'll tell you right now, I played you. We were undefeated. My top player, tight end, broke his thumb. Yeah, I got the multiplier.
Worse. I know.
I got the multiplier, but I also got black and blues. I had nightmares. I mean, yeah, I get it. You get the multiplier, but Manalapan ain't gonna back down from anybody. They're playing good football. Their games are close games too. It's not like they're beating people by a lot. Last week they did 39-7. You know that. Playing a Red Bank Catholic team that now they're the Huntee, right? We're gonna see. Yeah. We're gonna see it.
Yeah.
It's a different. It's you're talking about 14, 15, 16, 17, 18-year-old kids now. Now the rally isn't nobody believes in us. Now it's like we are the dudes, and now you got to protect that property, the number one in the shore, and now you got a target on your back.
Yeah.
Interesting game. Red Bank Catholic.
And I really don't think with the parochial group that Red Bank Catholic has to contend with this year, there's a lot of PowerPoints on the board for them as well with a Group 5 Manalapan team that's 5-1 right now.
Yeah.
They're not going to back off this game by all means.
No, not at all. Not at all. Interesting game. It's always tough when a public school plays a parochial at that level what they are.
I agree.
Public schools usually don't win that many with that. So if Manalapan could pull off the upset, it would be a big feather in his cap and really launch them into the state playoffs with a lot of confidence. So they're not going
to. But if I may, in the short conference, and Wall proved it last year, Wall took down myself and my team and Donovan Catholic. So the public schools that are at that level want to rise above it and say, wait, we can do what we want to do. So
I'll say this, though. Manalapan will not play a team better than Red Bank Catholic in the state playoffs.
I happen to agree with you on that.
And this will be a good gauge for them on their playoff run. If they could play with them and beat them or play with them, Manalapan's going to be very confident going into
and a good self-scout game. Yeah. And a good self-scout game.
So, good. Coach, that was a wow. I'll tell you right now, my ribs hurt just talking about these games. I think I pulled a hamstring. My shoulders kind of tweaked. That's how it feels. Just thinking about these games.
At the very least, I just looked at my sheet. I have 6 games right now. I have no idea. I mean that truly from my heart.
Damn.
I have 6 games that I have no idea what I would do.
That was a. I'm black and blue just reading off the schedule that's going on this week.
Yeah.
God. Oh man.
Maybe they did what they wanted to do. They got really good games with parity, matching up teams where they want. I mean, who knows?
Good games, and the fans want to see it. That's what's exciting about the short conference. So, to as media guys, we want to see it. I guess
Yeah.
But exciting football for Week 8, Coach. I want to thank you once again for coming on our show, and everybody out there. Make sure that you spread the word about our talk show and make more people. We're averaging, I think 595 views we're averaging for the 7 weeks. It's a lot.
Well, yeah,
Who want to hear me talk? Are you kidding me?
Not that I'm trying to make a plea to everybody, but I see that the numbers are growing. Again, the best form of publicity is word of mouth. We're talking about every short conference team. Does not matter if you're Group 1 to Group 5, parochial to private. Doesn't matter if you're part of our short conference football alignment that we all coach in and truly believe in the kids, which is most important about. And I'm talking for the man that I'm speaking to right there. It's about the kids, and it always will be about the kids. Push it out there. Talk to who you need to talk to. Hit the like button. Subscribe what you need to do, because it's really starting to gain ground. I mean,
it is
proud.
lot of good things happening in the next couple weeks. We're going to start promoting kids for colleges, and then the all-star teams are coming in with the playoffs and a lot. And we're gonna have our committee. Our committee will be picking different kind of all-star teams. I didn't figure out exactly what, but we'll be doing all divisions. We'll be doing. I want to do an all underclassmen thing so we can basically get excited for next year and say, here's the guys. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna do something different, coach. You know, so we're gonna have a lot of fun, exciting things, and we don't have any boundaries. We can do what we want because we are the Shore Football Report, right? All right, cool. So I'm Coach Davis, Coach Hoadley. Just want to wish everybody the very best weekend. Enjoy the football games and keep retweeting or posting on Twitter so we can see the scores of different games because we are at the mercy of everybody. These good-looking faces can't be in two places. Cannot. So I'm a really good retweeter. Like I wait for somebody like Logan Germano goes to the games and I say, make sure you post this. So he does it and I retweet. I can't tweet and watch. So I retweet. That's all I do. I copy. Just like I was in college. I used to look at the other person's paper, stuff like that. That's what we do. That's how we learn. So we're a product of our behavior back in the days in college. So, all right, Coach, thank you very much. Again, let's have a real fun week and let's stay in touch and let's get ready to keep making it exciting for football out there, right?
Week 8 football coming up.
All right. I'll see everybody later.